Is it hot where you guys are?
Nope.
So hot here.
It's like 20 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty
Nice, nice
cozy
cool
actually.
20 degrees, yeah.
It's pretty decent 15 degrees in here.
I might need to close the window tonight, actually, a bit chilly.
What? Oh, okay. It's like, I think it went up to like 27 today.
Hmm.
Ah.
7 is pretty hot.
And I'm on like the 3rd floor, so I got all the heat through walls.
Conserves in your apartment.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
Button.
Think DDS might be doing prep stuff, I'm not sure.
No, I got a reel.
Just finalizing a few details for you.
There you go.
I've got a reel of like generic D&D pictures from wizards.
He's just setting up the dozens of disintegrate traps for the coronation.
Those are your traps, right?
Yeah.
You know, he has been practicing his ritual casting. This is no big deal for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Ritual traps.
Don't ask where I learned it. Just, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Your Dwarven contacts.
Yeah.
I did like a small list, all the things that I remember we talk about doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can put it on Discord.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's not everything, but most things that I remembered we were planning doing. I might add some things.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Also, there are a lot of typos because I wrote it like last 10 minutes ago.
I'm going to refill my drink and then we'll
It's
begin.
fine. I can read it just fine. It's all good.
Yeah, I also, in that list, I have the High Duchy. Yeah, you got the High Duchy of Ferelda. I know we've got an in with them at least. You know.
Yeah.
I have a first contact.
I might also finally be done with the King Arthur game, I'm not sure yet. But play that a lot. That was good.
Did try that for an hour, but I don't know. It really didn't catch me.
Welcome back, everyone, to Blood Bond, the Tale of the Ashen Court.
Hey.
I see someone's mouse been dancing around the top right of the screen. But welcome back to everything. Oh, I should make Ceres visible again. Is she here right now? There we go.
I'm here. What is it? Is it the same IP as last time?
Should be.
Pinned.
It's pinned. Oh, okay. Cool.
So, last time you finished clearing out the spire in Sorkai.
Yes.
Having reclaimed the forge and defeated the intruder who was there.
Yes, Mr. Eyeball.
Your court magistrate is now taking the process of examining it, studying it, and starting the repair process. She may have to come bug your your treasurer for some money for that, but we'll go over that then.
Oh, did we figure out what that weird weapon was that it was making?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I think we're waiting on the dear auntie to figure that out.
So the clock is ticking for you and your court. It's only going to be at most 2 weeks now until the coronation officially commences. And obviously you need to be prepared for when it does. Your various people are already getting to work preparing the actual festivities for it. Preparing the venue, preparing, getting together fine wines and other things to serve. Making it the endeavour it should be. But obviously that's not really your immediate concern. Your immediate concern is what's going to happen potentially after the coronation. As you have heard, the looming threat of war on the horizon, which basically you also want a peace of anyway. With that, I think we take a look to our dear leader, Amanus himself.
Uh-huh.
I imagine Amanus would like to be able to, given the fact there is currently no general, I imagine that much of the responsibility of keeping an eye on the troops kind of fallen to the wayside, except for maybe if the king himself goes to take an eye on them.
Sure. I mean, I can certainly have an eye on it.
It's quite clear that recruitment has somewhat dried up for the fact of having no general.
Yeah, we did plan the what's his name again? The paladin dude to become the general, I think.
You had put
Sir
plans
Gillian?
forward for potentially Sir Gillian to become your
Yes.
general.
Yes.
Not just recruitment drying up. I'm imagining Torren has pinched the odd promising soldier or two for the city guard here.
Yes, you have.
That's okay.
And the rest of them have been untrained footmen who, basically aren't any good unless they actually get a general behind them. But you try to take stock of the current units available. I imagine Amanus walking through the barracks, walking through the makeshift war camps, those sort of things.
Yes.
Is there any particular way he carries himself going through there? Does he try to seem menacing to his own troops?
I mean, yes. If the question is does he try to be menacing, the answer is always yes. Although he doesn't need to try that much. He's sort of just.
I'm pretty sure it's like the default setting for Amnas, right?
Yeah, it is.
If he tries to
menacing.
smile, it just looks horrifying at this point.
I do just have to confirm, though, that you are in fact being dread.
He smiled once. It was horrible.
You'll be
Children
honest.
screamed a mile away.
The troop situation you have up here in Freyfrost is not the best you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, many of the troops you had during the original Battle of Freyfrost have now returned to their families, many of them being peasant uprisings.
Yes.
But what you take stock of is the following. You can probably assemble 2 groups of okay trained footmen, each consisting of 120 men.
Okay.
You have about 70 okay trained people with crossbows.
All right.
5 dwarven ballistae.
Yes.
And from your vassals, you believe you can probably call on 85 footmen from Eliza's lands.
Okay.
And 50 of her elite hunters.
Sure.
And that's your entire military.
Hmm.
All right, well,
The details are in the top right there.
right. Oh, okay. Wonderful. I was writing these down.
Yeah. These footmen, are they like, can they fight, or are they just someone with a spear?
They have basic training, but they are mostly just men with spears, but they have at least some basic training behind them.
All right.
In theory, you could try. You could, of course, raise levies of untrained troops
Yeah.
from the population. Alternatively, you could leave the city undefended and use the guard as also another infantry unit.
Hmm. Might have to do that. We'll see.
If you did that, you'd have about. I imagine Torin has been rather has been very good at training up his men.
Seems to be good at that.
He seems a rather disciplined commander. It seems we have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How how exactly have you how in that sense of like organizing, have you is like regular training part of their schedules?
I mean, Torren is a military man. Like, he comes from military, so everything he does is sort of inspired from there. He basically treats the city guard as a elite unit, one that he expects to not only perform well, but beyond well in anything they attempt to do. Of course, it probably doesn't really work quite yet. He has only been here for weeks, question mark, at best. The first thing that would have happened is that he probably realized that they are very much lacking the basics. So it was probably not a fun time for his city guard because, you know, drilling the basics is no fun for anyone, but it is absolutely mandatory. And then once those are done, he would go to actually making them a bit more elite. So the city guard, they're not supposed to be like the police, they're more supposed to be like SWAT, you know?
I see.
He does pay them plenty of respect, those that not only do well, but also show promise, even if they're not quite there yet. He is obvious with his compliments and his support. You know, he wants them to be the best they can. He's not the one who leads with dread like Emanus might. He just is perhaps a bit easy to disappoint.
I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, basically.
Torin believes that if required to dispatch the city guard as a military force, you could probably raise about 50 decently trained men.
We're basically
Would leave the city almost entirely undefended, but you could do it.
we're going for not the city guard with like a halberd who goes like, "Hello, my lord." More of the what do you call it in Forsaken Throne? Like they call them the blue cloaks, like the
Yes.
the house guard of the Empress.
Yes. In
Sapphire guard.
the top right, I will continue to update your troops as they happen, but that is your current troop situation that Amnath immediately had survey of.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Obviously, you will have an ally during this, but you do not know exactly how many forces your allies are bringing. So.
Right. Yeah, we need a general to get things like sorted up, really.
Yeah, because it's very hard to recruit troops without a general, at least good troops.
Yeah.
You can mostly just raise more footmen.
Yeah. No, we need training. We need a lot of things. For sure.
And of course, you do not.
They had more than 24 hours, then Torren could do 2 dogs.
Yeah. I mean, we've sort of relied on our own eliteness as a squad, you know, of play characters to show up and do business, or relied on sneaky diplomacy to get things.
But obviously, you've got a flat out war ahead.
Yes. Getting that general sorted is top priority, I think. Until Gillian comes back and can resume command, I think Amonas will probably put a lot of his time into army management, and if needed, he will call in Torin for some backup and advice, because you know Amonas is martially oriented and stuff, but he has not really organized an army before. While you know Torin certainly has, so his help might be invaluable. hammering some of the kinks out, getting some of the basics done before Gillian comes back and can actually take over the responsibility properly.
For managing the army, what would you say Amnes's priority is here? Does he think he just needs more men on the ground, or does he think he needs high quality men on the ground?
He will take stock of what he have, grumble, that this is not enough at all, and probably he will start trying to improve quality a bit. Like he can't show up with like peasants with spears. It's embarrassing. We need to get some of this going for real. His idea is always quality over quantity, and so he will probably just round up the different unit commanders, have some talks, and then start doing proper drills, and overseeing everything personally. He is a bit miffed that we don't have any cavalry, but up in the snow here, that might be self-explanatory why we don't.
Yes. At this time, you currently lack any cavalry units at all. You also lack any mage units.
Yes, that would be nice.
Cavalry in a highland like this is going to be tough to work out, right?
But yeah, he will try to beat them into shape and start getting them to actually do military discipline. Be able to brace for charge, counter skirmishing, stuff like that. Basically tactics and unit cohesion and the ability to follow orders. So again, they're less like peasants with a stick and maybe a footman instead.
Well, Amaneth, as you're doing this, I will allow you to make a skill check here.
All right.
You may decide the skill check as long as you can pitch why that skill check is relevant.
Sure.
To try and improve your troops.
Yes, I do. Let me consult my skills. It's probably going to be persuasion or something similar. Let's see here.
Also, I think all of our sheets are still level 7.
That's true. I've not re-imported the sheets. I should have done that.
So our stuff will be 1. Our rolls, at least me and you, will be 1 higher because of...
Yes, at least 1 higher because our ability scores.
That jump. Yeah.
That's fine. If you just let me know at the time, I will...
Let's go check here.
Yeah, I did some like basic editing of my character sheet. But...
I just left it. I figured we're not going to be doing too much, so... adding +1.
I mean, insane combat to do.
Yeah, I did be honest in updates, but this...
All right. Amanus is a Paladin of Conquest. He is dread. He is dread incarnate. He oozes it. He will probably show up at the barracks more or less unannounced, unless the rumor has gone around or like Vickers or someone have tipped the officers off that he's coming. And be like, this is the sorriest excuse of an army I've ever seen in my life. Who is in charge of these men? Get your goddamn, lazy backhides over here, and then slap them around a little bit for keeping everything in such dismal states. And then it's like, well, your sweetbread days are over. Now it is time for grueling drilling, because you know what? By the gods, your services are needed, and you will perform this. So I think intimidation to get things started here.
I am happy for you to use intimidation.
I will spend my inspiration on this.
That's going full drill sergeant.
Oh yeah, line. No, we need to. This is unacceptable. Completely.
Got to call someone a maggot somehow.
14. Well. Oh well. It's 1 more, so 15, I guess.
With a 15, thank you for that extra point of charisma, right?
Yes, that's correct.
You may raise the power level of a single one of your personal troops, other than the Sorkai Guard, by 1.
All right.
You may decide which set of troops got the benefit.
Well, I guess we'll take one of the footman units. Maybe the arbalest, because they're pretty good. Arbalest units are pretty powerful.
I mean, they got crossbows, range attacks.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll take that then.
Very well.
He secretly hopes that if you shoot the enemy enough, you know, they won't make it to the front line, and that means that stupid ass infantry don't need to hold that much. Also, if we're up against mages, you know what stops a mage from casting a spell? Shooting them in the face.
It's true.
Obviously, thankfully for this war, you don't have to worry about naval capacity, given that both you and your neighbors are landlocked, effectively.
Unless he has come up with a land ship. Like that Warhammer figurine.
Not to your knowledge. While Amulet is training the troops, obviously this is becoming a thing that I think is probably going to begin to spread throughout most of the council, that it is people are starting to prepare for, let's be honest, the inevitable war ahead. As Isaac put in chat, there were some various ideas that were discussed. There is, for example, the tunnel passage that's already being worked on. You don't need to do anything about that unless you want to change something about it.
Okay.
But a tunnel is being dug to your neighbors to the west. It's only a small one, but it will allow for some basic troop movement back and forth. That's being arranged by the Duchess's own people on your behalf. With your blessing, of course. Obviously, that is something you could change if you wanted to, but...
No, it's part of the deal, so we'll honor our deals. Not duplicitous. That.
Other than that, though, the various other things that are on Isaac's list are various potential things that you could try to look into. So if we pan the camera around for a moment. Our good lady Ceres.
That's me.
Obviously, you are. It comes to likely no surprise to yourself that even while you still have some visitors remaining in your capital, that it sounds like Amulet is preparing for war.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew this. He's power hungry. I mean, he's vengeful. I mean, he's bold.
Yeah.
I think the word you're looking for is just.
You end up receiving a mental ping in the back of your head, like a message magically sent to your mind. Makara requesting your presence in the spire.
Are you sure? Ceres is probably somewhere in the spire.
You make your way up to where Makara is currently working. As you currently see her pondering, as surrounding her is a large number of the destroyed golems from when you had travelled up the tower. When I say destroyed, many of the times you managed to disable and not outright destroy them all.
Yeah, because we managed to damage the crystal that was like holding together, right? I remember disabling 2 myself.
The battle draws near. Does it not, my niece?
It does. Always seems to find a way to us.
He kind of looks to the pile of golems, looks to yourself. There's not many, but do you believe these might be of help?
It put a dent in most things and practically invulnerable to normal weapons. they would be quite devastating on the field. Until his mages. Wow. Even his mages would struggle.
Bakara smiles. It's kind of very sharp. When was Wicked smile for a moment? Then would you care to join me for a ritual? We could breathe life of our own into that.
I think that's right. We might
Makara, out of a character, I will let you know. Makara is willing to try and reanimate some of these golems to serve in the army.
Mm-hmm.
You would receive a group of 20 golems with a power of 8.
Yeah, we need war golems.
However,
yeah.
However, this would cost four of your 10 mana from your pool.
How much do we have?
Your mana bar is currently maxed out, but
Then yeah.
Look, a Highland Footman unit has a power of 1. You
Yeah,
know, if
power
you have
of
a unit
8.
that shows up with 8.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
I'm gonna fucking smash them.
With like more or less immunity to magic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
because
we can.
Effectively, it comes out as almost equivalent to 160 soldiers.
I don't think we can say no to that.
100%.
Because we're going up against the caster faction, so
Yeah, we need their resistances.
Yep.
Like it's a no-brainer. I think we should.
100%.
Very well. As Makara will kind of invite you over, and we'll begin to work on the ritual with you. This is not a ritual that Sarah's never performed before.
Mm-hmm.
Can you attempt me an Arcana check as this is performed?
Yeah. I can.
As you begin to weave your shadow magics fairly around the room, alongside your aunt's frozen spatial magics.
Mm. Yeah, that'll do.
Oh boy.
That's 26.
Oh yes. That is a good roll.
Ceres might be a diplomat, but she's also a very talented mage in her own right.
Actually, you rolled high enough that you improved their power level by 1 when recruited.
Ah.
Nice job.
So +9.
Power's over 9,000.
I have now added onto your units list.
Yes. I imagine like
The constructs are not permanent, but they will last you for the upcoming battles.
I imagine that Ceres wants to like show them off. Maybe without telling Amanas like beforehand. And just have them like stomp through the city, like across the bridges, through the main gates to where the training's all going on.
Part of reanimating the golems would require embedding a new rune into them, a new rune of power.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any particular design Ceres wants to go for in designing what the new crest should be for the golems?
I feel like we have to keep the phoenix, right? If we're gonna do any insignia, it should be the phoenix.
So engraved onto the forehead of each of these golems is the phoenix sigil now.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
The golems will obey yours or Makara's command, as being the people who animated them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can always just tell it, hey golem, obey that person. If you so feel like it.
No, that'd be cool. Sweet.
Yes, there are now 20 power 9 Spire Golems, so equivalent of 180 base power.
We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10. Yeah, we basically increased our power with like 80% or something from that.
Because essentially, just for doing like basic math, and if you're ignoring like train like multipliers or anything on it, you can basically just consider like power times size will get you a good rough estimate for overall power.
Sure.
All right.
Obviously, some things are more effective against others, like siege engines are great against cities, not so great against normal troops. Unless you're like dropping, diseased cows on people.
Which we might.
That's a more tactical decision to make later. What that goes on though? Vicus.
Yes.
How does Vicus feel as he hears Amnes going to train troops and the entire city beginning to almost prepare?
It's interesting because back in his old office, most of his day to day was far more drudgery than like actually preparing for war. And now in this case, especially with the battle for Freyfrost, and now once again, it's kind of been battle after battle. However, this time he's more mentally prepared for, I guess, the situation ahead that's going on. But while the city itself is preparing, he thinks at this point it would be prudent to engage with the so said criminal, I suppose, element or underbelly in Sorkai that he was made aware of quite recently. And if I remember correctly, there's two groups.
There were. Yes.
One of them being dwarves, if I can remember, and the other group being the ones who actually created the statue.
Yes.
And given Vicus's propensity for dwarves and his contacts, not that he knows the allegiance of these dwarves yet, he thinks that they would be who he would first attempt to meet, set up a meeting.
As the spy master of the city, that is more than within your power to do.
Yep.
They may want to stay hidden. They can't stay hidden against you, not for long.
No.
You control this city, and there is currently not enough people here for them to just stay completely off the radar.
Right.
Thankfully. How does Vickers want to arrange this? Does he want to just basically go to their headquarters? Does he want to meet in the shady corner of the bar in secret?
I think showing up at their headquarters is more of a show of force. Like he wants to come with a proposition, and if he tries to find them in like in a shady corner of a bar, that doesn't really show much of what he can do. But showing up at their headquarters straight up, be like, hey, like I know you're here, let's talk. I think that has a lot more sway. So I think he's going to set it up like that. He's just going to arrive at their headquarters. They know who he is. So yeah.
You arrive at the dwarven at the dwarves' secret criminal hole. It's in one of the small buildings on the very edge of the city, kind of hidden behind a back alleyway where no one really is going to pay attention. You have snuck in there, finding a wonderful unlocked door on the rooftop. And inside, you see them discussing away, make various decisions, banters. As you see their leader, then just seemingly heading off towards perhaps wherever he does his work.
Yeah. I guess at this point, Vicus would basically like to find his way through without getting spotted, and basically head off the leader and meet with him. So I suppose this would be some sort of stealth thing, right?
Stealth would be appropriate, yes.
Yeah, I think he'll go for that. Let's see. My dex has increased, so right. So it'll be +1. Just need to quickly double check because I don't know if my dice for the psychic stuff increases at this level. I'll just double check really quick. No, okay. Let's do the roll. Vicus is gonna boost that. Actually no, I can't unless
It's
I
not a
fail.
failure.
It's
So.
not failure. That's true.
I
Because
think only gods can see you.
Yes.
you move like a shadow. You walk almost boldly straight through the center of their main area without a single person seeing you. You almost believe, in this brief moment, you could potentially sit in the Grand Master's chair, and he may not entirely notice until he tries to go sit down himself.
You know,
Kill him.
I think
Take him out.
no. I think Vicus is gonna do that. He's gonna sit there and he's not gonna wait until he tries to sit down and be like, oh, but he's gonna wait until perhaps he turns around to go look, and then he will make his presence known.
He heads into his office, completely somehow does not see you on the chair because of how stealthy you are, and heads over to a painting on the wall, moving it aside to a safe behind it.
Oh, how's he open the safe?
There appears to be a very intricate lock put on it, very clearly custom made.
Oh wow.
Feel free to shimmy up behind him as he's currently opening it.
Yep, he will.
You can just tap him on the shoulder, I suppose.
Yeah, Vicus will come up behind him, and as he's like opening the safe, he will say, "That's some fine craftsmanship you've got there."
He freezes. You see his hand immediately go for his waist, but you can just block his wrist.
Yep, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I'm here for a good reason. Let's not waste both of our lives, shall we? He waits for him to I guess turn around to see
If you
who
allow
it is.
him, he turns around, and you see a slight ghostly paleness to his face as he sees you.
Yeah. You, no doubt, are aware of who I am. Yes.
There's very few in the city in our business wouldn't know.
Very good. This will make this quite easy then. Let us both take a seat. You look like you're about to collapse. And he'll like clasp his hand on his back and like lead him to the chair so he's pass out.
You have full control over the situation.
Yeah, he sits him down. Vicus will stand and say, "Now, I could have quite easily shut this operation down without any of your knowledge or your, well, workers here, but I see potential business. No self-respecting spy master of the kingdom is ignorant of the underbelly of his cities, and foolish still is one who would refuse to use it for his own benefit. As such, I am here to offer a proposition. If I provide the knowledge and resources to not officiate the process, but to provide a guild, unofficially, of course. Let you do your business, but you gather information for me, and we work together as partners. Now, well, I'll just say plain, you don't really have much of a choice here. But if you accept, then we can get started on our wonderful friendship.
You're not giving me much to go on.
Well, what do you need?
Outside not dying, what are we getting?
You're getting contact with someone who has access to the coffers of the city. You're getting access to someone who has the influence and reach to get you what you want.
Also, someone who doesn't immediately tell the warden where you are hanging out.
It is inevitable that eventually, as hidden as you thought you may be, you will be found. And would you rather to be found by, well, say, dear Torn and his guards, or would you rather be found now by me?
Fine, we're listening.
Good. There is change coming. There is conflict coming. That is why I come here. I need information. And I believe that, well, what you've got going here will be useful for my means. And I think your continued existence and profit also serves you too. I'll be in touch to work out the fine details, but I think for now, perhaps you might need a bit of a lie down. And Vicus will get up and take his measure of the individual in front of him. Like, does he know this person at all?
Personally, no. By reputation, somewhat.
Okay.
He's a daring criminal, well known for it. Having, to your recollection, you believe pulled off several heists in rather dramatic manners. For example, robbing an expensive caravan by demolishing the bridge while it's crossing.
I see. Hmm.
Alternatively, managing to break into the safe of another dwarven stronghold, the inner vaults of another dwarven stronghold, leaving very little signatures behind him. Very little signs he was there. Only apparently people only knowing it was him through the grapevine later. That said, though, he alone might be a very competent saboteur and infiltrator.
I see.
But of course, his group as a whole,
Yeah.
they're more fledgling thieves for the most part.
All right. Well, as he's taking a stock, he kind of nods to himself, more to show that he is, slightly impressed. And without another word, he will leave. Probably none the wiser of the rest of the people there. So I think in abstract here, And this is also a question out of character for what people think. There are obviously two groups here. I don't know if they're going to be in conflict with each other. I don't know if I can bring them together, but I'm thinking I'm just going to get both of them to basically work for me, or attempt to at least.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular goal in mind for them, or do you wish to add them to the military?
I do have a particular goal in mind for them. I want them to gather some information on, like, the Duke of Alsen's, basically anything really that's gonna be useful for the coming conflict, like whether it's tactical positions or maybe certain individuals in his army that are prominent, to gain some information on them, or given that the dwarves have a propensity for like saboteuring, right? If they can find some strategic locations that they can kind of mess up with.
If they were added to the army, they'd be added as saboteurs and a form of siege for your army.
I mean, he's an expert at robbing caravans. I was told maybe he can point out supply lines and stuff for us that we could hit. Stuff like that.
That is a potential project.
Bribing officials, poisoning, rations, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think as an outside element, there's a lot more use, at least overall, than having them. Because having them in army is nice, but they have kind of the limited purpose of being used for specific things. I like having them as like a resource rather than an army unit, I think.
I think they can do much more good working off the field than on it.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust them to stand their ground on the battlefield.
No, I agree. Where so the other group, are they like easier to find or are they harder to find? They seem to be a bit
know
more...
where the other group is located.
Okay. I think
from what you've managed to pick up from your own people,
yeah,
they are a slightly more combat pronounced group, having definitely able to defend themselves better and being more willing to spill blood if needed.
Yeah.
If I was say, I think the general idea, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here, Valky, but the general idea is to more properly expand the spy network influence, right?
Yeah.
And what we offer, I think, is just we have quite easily found you. We can bring down Torin and the city guard, and he will just massacre all of you, like literally just kill you. Or you start working for us, and we will, tolerate a mild amount of your business in return for you sending information and stuff our way.
That's not good.
I mean, this goes through Vickers, of course.
Yeah.
Not telling Amanas that he's hiring criminals, or this is
this is advice. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Spy master stuff. The spy master does spy master stuff, right?
Yeah, but given that this other group was kind of like willing to show themselves in their display, I feel they're more amenable to actually have a conversation. Like that is not like I'm gonna murder you immediately, and more, they probably know what's at stake by showing themselves like this. So Vicus is going to try and find them and have a meeting, but not as not like trying to sneak in and scare the living daylights out of the leader. He's just a bit more respect than them actually doing something of use here. But ultimately, the discussion would be practically the same. That they would work for him, and he would ensure that they won't be ran out of the city, and also he would provide resources and potentially a place for them that is probably more hidden, or like a place where they can actually feel like they don't have to constantly hide or change positions in the city. Kind of like an unofficial guild, so to speak.
If you put out feelers that you wish to speak with them, they will make themselves known.
All right.
As Vickers finds himself given an invitation to come to a much smaller, or like much smaller little location on the kind of the edge of the market.
All right.
What appears to be a music shop.
Oh, all right. Sure.
You are instructed to ask about the Columbus.
I see.
And
Oh,
you'll be beckoned into the back.
Yes, you will do so then.
Where inside you see a very floral inside. It's a large room that has been dug up partly into the stonework, actually, on the kind of cliff side of the city.
Right.
It's quite nice, actually. There are a variety of plants moving through. The group here, it's almost immediately obvious as you kind of enter in. You kind of have a sixth sense given your existence in the criminal underworld.
Yeah.
The other group was definitely like thieves and saboteurs.
Yeah.
This group would definitely, while thievery might still be a thing that they do a lot of, you can tell the leader of this place comes from a much more formalized kind of criminal, formalized like guild background.
Yeah.
Potentially perhaps even with hints of assassination in some of its history.
All right. Okay.
You don't think the average person here is an assassin, but obviously the leader's giving you signals.
Yeah. Of course.
As you head up, and you find a individual sitting in a chair as you enter into an office. They are masked as you enter in.
Okay.
Although very clearly they are elven or half elven.
All right.
You can tell that much just by physique.
Yeah.
As they gesture to the table for you to take a seat.
Okay. As he enters, he's gonna take a quick look around. Perhaps a perception, just to make sure there's nothing out of place here. You don't just walk into a criminal underbelly and expect it to be treated nicely all the time. So he's gonna just take a look around before he sits down. So let's do that perception check, shall we? Where is my thing? There it is. Okay, 11. That's quite. If that's a failure, like completely, then I might roll a dice on that. But it's hard to do that with non-binary checks like this.
That is not enough.
All right, let's find the feature. Where is it? So 16. Yeah, 16.
Vickers does come to realize that there is someone outside the room with a vantage point up on the rafters who seem to have a crossbow trained on you.
Okay. He won't make it known that he knows, but he'll sit down.
Lord mercy. What do we owe the pleasure?
Well, a number of things, perhaps, but for one, there is a storm brewing outside of Sorkai, and so it felt like I should get to know the groups that frequent the city. Second, well, I am well versed in the means of networks and the role of a spy master, and as such, I need people to form such a thing. I'm here to extend, well, my greetings and also an offer to you.
The figure merely nods to you. It says nothing.
As you well know, I am not the one that determines how this city is protected on the surface. Such, while your group here is hidden, your display with the statue, which is, I must say, impressive to a degree, has brought attention. And I'm here to, how should I say, intercept any more aggressive means of pushing you out of the city, for I see much usefulness in you. In fact, I would go to offer that if I provide the resources and perhaps a larger place for you to continue your operations, and thirdly, be the liaison that, prevents the warden of the city from kicking you out, that you could work for me. A guild, so to speak, unofficial, of course.
You wish to offer us protection in return for joining your circle.
In essence, yes.
Giving up our own liberties is not something my people would appreciate.
No, I doubt that any good leader of a band would. However, I do not seek to limit your freedoms in entirety. No. That would only seek to stifle your potential. I rather would prefer to allow you to just your craft within reason. And yes, I offer you protection. I also offer you resources, and I also offer you the eventual extent of the network I will hold.
We'd be happy to work with you if you have work for us.
He smiles. There is plenty of work to be done. In the coming few weeks, there will be a large shift in how the politics of, well, everything in this region goes, and as such, there will be need for fighting. I took the measure of you all when I arrived, and while it could be very easy to just put a bolt into the back of my head and be done with it, I think I offer quite a promising agreement here. While I don't seek to limit your practice, believe me, I was there once. I also serve the interests of my king and Sorkai. Balancing the two is the role I play. One of them, at least.
Lord Mercer. As it stands, we do not mind who we get our contracts from. If you wish to pay our rates, we will be happy to serve whatever needs you and your court require. It's a business, you understand.
He smiles.
So he does briefly. The figure does briefly kind of look up to the rafters and make her hand like dismissing the crossbowman.
Mm. Business is indeed business. As such, I will certainly avail of your services by contract. However, it is only customary that I know who or what, or I suppose with whom I will be speaking to that represents you. A real name, an alias, doesn't matter to me. I only wish to put a name to a mask.
The figure raises their mask slightly, revealing half of their face as they speak, their voice distinctly changing as they do so.
Mm.
It seems the mask having some effect of disguising who they are. Even that, they're a very good ventriloquist. You would pick.
I see.
I'll simply give you the name Gwendolyn.
A pleasure then, Gwendolyn. No doubt I will contact you if I have anything.
There's a smile on her face before she puts the mask back on. Our services are open.
Hmm.
You're
Nod.
welcome inside our store at any time.
Much appreciated. Now I will get back to the business. He will attempt to leave. Before that, though, he would like to do a insight check on Gwendolyn to just get the kind of what am I trying to gauge here? Are they presenting this as a business transaction, or are they presenting this as how would I say? You're not like the only one who has asked us about this kind of thing, right? Because the talk about contracts and stuff has certainly given me the idea that like anyone who gives them money, they will do it for potentially
You can
against
try
us.
an insight.
Sure, let's do that.
Obviously, this is always an issue in the criminal underworld, as there are many fingers in the pot.
Yep. Insight. Yes. Wow. I would like to roll a dice if possible on that one.
Go ahead.
14.
You sense no malice or anything in their voice. But again, it's hard to tell if that's profession or, what. Because it's paranoia likely not helping the situation.
Yeah, of course. All right.
It's
well,
hard. It's hard to judge exactly, though. Though at least you think they are being amenable to, like, hey, you want to hit on someone, or hit on someone's stuff. Let us know.
All right. Fair enough.
But it's very clear that they don't want to bow the knee.
Yeah, they seem to be a much more put together group, considering that they have they take the risk of being noticed. So it's clear that they have the means to actually deal with the notice of other people. So
Compared to the other, which is much more ragabond band of thieves.
yeah, they're easily cowed by someone with more skill than them. But these guys are put together. So
The other group is quite easy to incorporate into your own spy network if that's your plan.
yes, that would be the plan. And so in this case, then I guess the plan would be to hire them. I suppose, since you said they're more like assassins, battle orientated in the conflict, as an unit, or would it be more outside of the scope of army stuff?
You could hire them as a unit. Though which may be a better option is having them as essentially a special strike you can have on standby.
Ah, yes, like a bribe.
That unit is being particularly pesky. Kill them.
Yeah, I think I like that idea.
Essentially, hiring them as an assassin for against a target of your choice, which you can basically declare during the war.
Yeah, I think that is a good option to have in play. So I'd like to have that.
Okay. As said, they are charging for this.
Yes, I can imagine.
Which means you can now get to roll on behalf of one of the NPCs.
All right.
Your current treasurer is Dame Rochelle Pine.
Yes.
On the behalf of Dame Rochelle, as treasurer, can you please roll for me how well she managed to keep the books balanced with us?
Okay. How much?
It is
No, I don't know.
she has a modifier of +6.
Okay. So D20, I assume.
Yep.
Oh no!
Can I use inspiration for her or something? I don't know.
I am willing for you to use this inspiration if you would like.
I think so. I have to.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god, that's not much better. All right.
Oh my.
Rochelle, what's happening?
I am taking away one of the dots of money you have as this has gone over budget.
Yeah, that's fine.
As this has made a notable dent in your wallet.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Gosh. All right.
However, you now have them on retainer for a single hit during the
Alright.
war.
That's good. It'll be useful. I think that concludes my aspect of organizing stuff, at least, unless some other people want me with them. Yeah.
Speaking of like the mayor and buyer and all like this merchant stuff, I think Sierra would just focus on that, like getting supplies, getting medicine, getting like this kind of stuff. I guess. Like
The logistical side of it.
yeah, like as an entertainer, it's not really a war thing that she can do a moral, raise morality, whatever it is, raise spirit. That doesn't seem like a very well like spend of her time for this like war stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, given your knowledge and you're multi-talented, I think logistics is like
yeah, she would like
a good role for you.
logistic and like I guess also like medicine training, unofficial.
Okay, so So just go over this with me. So what you're wanting to do is have CL go off and try to. What exactly? So yeah, what exactly is your effect you're trying to get? You're trying to like boost the supply lines then, or you're trying to?
I guess like boost or like secure like supply lines for the army. For
Okay.
like the whole like
It-
army, so like we are not run out of supplies.
Here's a question. Could Seal train like musicians or something for the army? You know, like to keep morale up.
Yeah,
I
battle
mean,
bard contingents.
Yeah, like battle bard, like a college of
Orchestra.
valor. Yeah, a battle orchestra.
Battle orchestra. Oh yeah.
I mean, yes, in time, but you know, you can just have the men by horse. You know, entertainment in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, morale is very important in battle, and she's probably pretty good at keeping that up with like rousing songs and speeches and stuff.
Mm,
Just an idea.
Rao
Well,
is a powerful elf.
she's not in like a singer entertainment mainly. She's like acrobatic, like circus
All right.
and illusionist. Like she can do that. She will like most likely do that. I guess like as a side thing.
A large amount of CL's boost to morale may come during the camping.
Yeah.
But I think for like as a like a sage or like unofficial sage,
Mhm.
like supply for the people and supply for the army and like that kind of logistics and like kind of like what he could do or she could do.
That is certainly something you can try to do.
I mean, if you have any other ideas than entertainment or like logistics, I'm happy to take them because for CL I have no ideas for this. You know, I guess I could make the coronation more fancier if that is necessary, but
I mean, you know, they have to try to think like, okay, what's she good at? Illusions? I mean, okay, that could be useful in an army sense in some way if we can employ like large scale illusions somehow to confuse or
yes, we
confuzzle
can.
the enemy.
Yes, we can.
That might be worth looking into.
But I
as
don't
I
think
said,
it's
like
for like
that is something you could try. That is something you could try to do. Would be basically try to design a ritual for the upcoming fight.
I mean, yes.
I mean, I'm thinking, like, what's your strength and what is your character speciality? You can probably
illusions and a lot of skills.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could there's nothing wrong if you want to do the logistics. Alternatively, you could try to recruit adventurers. That's always an option on the table.
True.
Adventure time. I mean, if you're speaking of illusions, like completely, like then CL would like manipulate the battle terrain with illusions because she has the hallucinate terrain spell. Make
That makes sense.
the battle terrains or the supply roads even like, you know, one idea is like when the supply roads of the Jugal Sen come, get some like dynamite fire bombs from our
Maybe, yeah, maybe
Yeah, it's
like
like, oh,
together.
there's a bridge here. Wow, let's use it for our
Yeah,
supply,
but
and then they drive into the water.
no, the idea is like maybe like because it's an illusion, like make a small explosion like falling rocks or something, like a canyon or something, or road patches, and then make a like an illusion that it's actually much bigger, blocking the path,
you
and then they.
I mean, yeah, you could probably like hook up with our court alchemist to set up all manner of like weird distractions and smoke bombs and like just I don't know, psycho hallucinogenics or something you can probably cook up with her.
There is certainly one thing that if you came to Persephone about this, she could potentially work with you. Is using your skill at illusions, her gnomish charm plus her knowledge of alchemy to basically make illusionary concealed explosive charges you can to trap a battlefield.
Sure. Like
Sounds cool, yeah. I
Also,
mean,
you have the magic to be able to make illusions and hide something like that.
yeah. I mean, from my perspective of CL, like in this kind of situation, she is the wild card. Like, there's so much
There are many things you can
that
do.
she has that she can do means that you're very flexible, which is a very good thing in the sense that there might be a bit of like paralysis in what you can do because there's so much you could. But I think picking one and then being flexible later is always good. So I think this is a good idea. I like this idea.
So I guess thing is with like illusion bombs and like modification of like illusion terrain all over the like enemy territory or for our benefit.
Do you want to focus on debilitating an enemy or blowing the enemy up?
I think she is more like disabling it.
Okay.
Like, she's
I mean,
not.
getting blown up is pretty debilitating.
Yeah, but like she is not a bloodthirsty. Like she doesn't. How would I say it?
Well, she's bloodthirsty in another way because
I see her. I see her as a controller more than a blast.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's it for Seal.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're pushing up on our lines, having them disoriented and debilitated is perfect to like slow their advance, which is what we need. We need time to organize a front.
Yeah, would be that like investigation of survival, to make like possible terrains and pick the locations for all that kind of stuff.
I was going to go investigation or performance.
Sure, I will go with my new investigation then. It's a little bit lower, but
Oh boy.
Nice.
Okay.
bardic inspiration? Question mark.
I cannot use it on myself.
I see.
She's already as inspired as she can be.
It's just that good.
And that is a new expertise skill that I suspect. For
That's the
my 8th level.
23. Okay.
Yeah, and I have expertise, if it matters at all.
It may matter.
I guess that is for me. I don't have anything else to add. Let's see what like do.
Right.
If you have time over, you can probably help with magical research in some way, right? You're really good.
I mean, sure. I just don't know how much time she has.
Oh, actually, I guess an aside, Dark, because I actually have just thought of the perfect use for the saboteur aspect is when we need to go in to basically mess up the supply for the Duke of Alsan for his magic. I'll probably bring them with me in that case, given that they're specialized in getting in infiltration and stuff and messing things up.
What was that?
No, I just thought of like the perfect use for the saboteur, the dwarves. When we go to mess up the Duke of Alsan's like supply for magic, I probably bring them with me. Given that they're specialized in like infiltration, saboteur stuff, it's probably a good use for them.
Okay. So 2 effects, by the way, for CL's thing. I've actually added a new ritual based on what CL's come up with, which I'll show you the rituals in a second, 'cause I haven't done that yet.
Oh, cool.
You don't need to not have very many of them, but they are there. Also, you'll have one free charge of this to use during the war because of her expertise.
Oh, nice.
Not cost any mana the first time you use it. Where's my section on rituals? Rituals, configure permissions to everyone is an observer.
Oh. All right, that's cool. I like this.
Yes, she's able to create a phantom train, trapping tiles, so anyone who enters up to 4 tiles, any enemies who enter those must make a save or become immobilized until the end of their next turn.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Able to prevent enemies from approaching or controlling where they approach.
All right. Welcome back, Halldamir.
Hello, hello, hello.
You may want to take notice of the new ritual section I popped up.
Yeah, I see.
Magic weapon is just default, what everyone gets to start with. More will be added if and when you discover them.
Sure.
Right.
Makara's Frozen Abyss is rather powerful, also exceptionally mana hungry. That's like almost all your mana you currently got left.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out with that. What's the timeline on the expedition to near the Dwarven
They will be
Hole?
returning very soon, actually.
Okay.
I'm also very curious about a couple of things. Because me and Vickers are learning ritual casting, right?
You are.
Yes,
I'm wondering
we are.
when that finishes. And I'm wondering what we find in the top layer of the tower.
All valid points.
And if I get to have my winged kitty cat familiar.
Yeah. Do we want
You and your
to?
familiars.
They're cute, damn it.
Army
I
of
mean, I'm
turtle
not saying
cannons.
that. They are very cute, but
They fit the vibe.
Yeah. Do we want to? Maybe this might be a full group thing, but do we want to bring or like sit down Rochelle and talk to her about the possibility of Reichhold being like in the crossfire here?
And that's I feel that's Sarah's thing because that's diplomacy.
Right.
Yeah, so for diplomacy, I've got 3 points of interest.
All right, fire away.
Before we do that,
Oh, sorry. Don't wait.
we still get to pan around to Torin personally.
Yes, yes.
Personal
Obviously,
Torin.
obviously, we know what much of the council has now been doing to do preparations for the upcoming war. Is there anything that immediately comes to your mind, Sheep, or something that Torin would like? Yes, this is something that must be done.
I mean, on the one hand, here's the warden, and his charge is the defense of the city, which, as far as war is concerned, is hopefully not going to be required.
You hope.
Because ideally the battlefield is somewhere else. If it's right inside of our city, things have gone very wrong. I think most of his focus will be just on general training of the guards, as I've explained earlier. There might, however, be something he can actually do to help out the army a bit, indirectly perhaps. Because he's definitely aiming to make the guards not just your policemen who just walk around and are helpless to actually do things. No, he wants them to be, well trained, well oiled, a real team, SWAT basically. Like if any criminal elements get out of line, then they will be smashed indoors, and groups of well-coordinated attacks on all the holdings and things like that. Basically, training, discipline, that's what he tries to do.
Okay.
Now that's my train of thought. He is, however, not exactly like Amorous. Like Torin is strict and disciplined himself, but he's more like he leads by example. He doesn't shout at his troops to get better. He shows them how to do it, and then he's disappointed when they can't quite follow up, and hopes that they'll try for their own sake. Sort of that's sort of his style. He would like to set up a bit of a friendly competition between the guard and the actual soldiers. Sort of turning this whole self-improvement into a bit of a game, where the friendly competition might drive both sides to actually perform a bit better. Showing that it's not just about being pressured and being basically scared into performing well, but rather that if you just have a bit of friendly competition, you can really accomplish much. Maybe set up like, I don't know if it's a bit too short for that, but like mini war games, just like have like sports games basically, to add some fun to the training basically. And also, of course, show that the guards are way better than the soldiers, and they should be embarrassed about that.
Okay. And the goal here is improving and kind of training up the men.
Yeah, it's basically motivate both the guards and the soldiers by pitting them against each other in competitions. Which, of course, is training at the same time.
Like a mini Olympics, but soldiers.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, then. That is definitely something which you could do. Is there any particular way Torin would... is there a particular skill you would like to propose that this would represent Torin's ability to do this? Is he taking
Torin
part
will-
himself with athletics?
Absolutely. Like he's gonna show these people what's up, basically. This is how you could be if you're disciplined and trained more, you people. Believe in yourselves. Don't mind the fact that he's an entirely different race. That's actually irrelevant. He would.
in fact, you've got a couple of races among your soldiers. You've got, of course, there are plenty of humans there. You've got a couple of dwarves and a couple of halflings as well in the army.
Oh, great. Only the best. But yeah, he would compete himself, basically doing as usual, leading by example, showing people how strong they could be, and hopefully motivating them that way. Which I guess would be in athletics.
Yeah, that sounds like athletics, and I'm even happy if you would like, given kind of Torin's extensive training, if you want to go ahead and roll one of your dice along with it as well.
Sure. That's all right. I have no remaining uses. You are lying.
And feel free to just bump the number up. It's we're not in combat.
Wow, it's a 15. He's holding himself back intentionally just to not embarrass his people too much.
You still put on a good show. Perhaps it's less that Torin doesn't perform the best, and less just the fact that Torin doesn't have the best opportunities to perform the best against such undertrained troops by comparison.
Yeah.
Question: could you like add bardic inspiration on that? Any longer?
Oh, that's cheating.
Yeah,
Given that you've not bardic inspiration to anyone else, I would say yes.
if you want,
Basically, you can only bardic inspiration one of these sessions, which is going to be the last one. So.
Yeah, cheer him up. Why not?
Sure. Maybe the bardic inspiration would be used not to make Torin perform better, but just to translate his performance better into actual motivation.
CL is the sports commentator, explaining what's happening.
In the red corner, we see currently
Yeah.
our reigning champion.
Mysteriously, the commentator's box is like very enshadowed.
Yeah, the play-by-play.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Torin,
Yes.
you may select any of the units that any of the personal troops and raise their power by 1, except the golems.
Oh, the golems are not competing. Probably the footmen, like one of them. Like they are definitely the ones who would benefit from this the most, I think.
Very well. So you'll raise one of the footmen up to power 2.
Yeah, I think that's good. We need some decent frontline. So
In fairness, that's a significant boost to power. So
yeah, definitely.
the group will also be given the choice if you want to try and outfit the army with with new equipment. But again, that's pricey. So
How
How much money
much?
we have?
We have two things left. Two.
you have 2 dots worth of wealth. It's abstracted wealth, of course, because kingdom wealth is a bit hard to give in actual gold pieces.
Does anything happen when we have nothing? Or
Basically, if you have nothing, you basically can't spend money on things anymore.
okay, but it doesn't like cause any unrest or anything. It's
It
just
doesn't cause
like,
any unrest unless something forces you to give away money and you have none.
okay. So how much would it be to give the?
Essentially, what would happen is, again, basically your treasury department gets to make a roll. If they roll well, they squeeze it into the budget somehow. If they roll badly, it's going to take away pips. In this case, it will take away outfitting. Will cost you 1 pip per unit you're trying to outfit.
I don't know. I feel like we might need this money for something else soon, as well.
You will get a slight You will get a slight boost to cash after the coronation, but
Right. Yeah.
obviously at the moment you don't have much there.
No. What do you think, guys?
I mean, what rupee even would increase?
Probably the
Eight?
other footmen to have like parity between the two.
Yeah, I don't know. They're too crappy for me to want to waste money on them.
I mean, we could get better siege engines, I guess.
Supercharged siege engines.
Take them in for maintenance.
Add like a hot balloon onto them, so they're seas.
Oh man, if we can get one of those like Cathay fire rocket balloons, I would love that.
Alternatively, of course, you could try to spend the money on something else, such as approaching the dwarves. And can we buy more siege engines from you?
Maybe we can rehire the shatter shields or something for some money.
You do not currently have enough money on the standby to do that.
They have a lot.
Maybe they can work on credit.
No mercenary worth their salt goes on credit ever.
Maybe we can offer him first looting of the city.
No, we don't want to do that either. Are you kidding?
He
So much magical items. Are you insane?
doesn't want that. He just wants some gold and silver and easy stuff.
But you are gonna take over that city. So do you want it to be looted?
It's a little bit of
Like,
looting
now,
is
now we have Greater Elsend. Let's see how much money we have. Oh, we have 0 pips because it's all looted.
If
Ah, so
Warhammer Total War has taught me anything, it's that any intention to not loot a city goes out the window when you see how much money you can get from that.
Yes.
The point,
Like 48,000 gold. You're like, well.
the point isn't the person you want looting the city to be yourselves.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we're good. Like, I think we have a decent, solid.
No, none of these troops
Yes.
feel
Feel
worth.
investment worthy, right?
Yeah.
Of at least money. Time, sure, but not money.
I mean, that's absolutely for sure. That's absolutely fine. Just the point is, you have an opportunity at the moment if you wish to try and upgrade any of them.
Right. Yeah, I guess we don't for now.
That's fine.
At the moment, I say no.
You'll keep your limited funds as they are.
Yeah.
I mean, we would make it to build the harbor so we have a secure, trade route over the seas that it cannot be blocked. And trade it will aid with commerce and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you will receive. You will receive a bit of a cash boost once the coronation happens, but that's just purely from the fact of, for example, there'll be gifts.
Oh, lovely.
Gifts, you say?
Also, you'll receive another round of tax season. So,
I love taxes.
But why is it random?
It's about how much we can squeeze out of the ungrateful peasants.
I mean, I guess you are the threat. Yes. The extra tax.
Okay. So with that, though, that handles each of your kind of individual efforts to bolster the army in some way. Amina's upgraded some troops. Torin upgraded some troops. Seal got a new ritual and a free casting of the ritual. Ceres brought golems. And Vickers brought assassins.
Yep.
Ceres wins.
Assassino.
Did you say Ceres wins?
Yes, you brought the most strongest thing.
Yeah.
And in fact,
Makara.
Ceres is only able to do that because of the fact you guys had cleared out the tower already.
So, like it's collaborative effort.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort.
Certainly.
But you know, it's always those with the family connections that get the most. So
The extra +1 was completely me, though. You can
that was.
you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
shower me in accolades for that one.
Yes, that's true. The extra power because you just rolled so high.
Wonderful work, my lady.
You know, you raised elite golems, not just normal golems.
Yeah.
The best columns.
Have to create some that are longer lasting in the future.
Permanent ones, not just temporary.
Yeah, yeah.
So, now, I think some of you wanted to attempt diplomatic efforts. We can shift our camera that way if you wish.
Yeah. Why not?
Spotlight.
What diplomatic efforts are you wanting to try and pursue? Given you don't really have time to travel much here, but
No. So we that hampers one aspect. So we have the Dwarven embassy, right? Like we've got
you have a Dwarven Embassy here.
the Dwarven Embassy, and that's for Shattershield Hall, right?
Yes, your diplomat is Klein Shattershield, who runs the embassy.
Okay. So talking to the dwarves is one step, and we already have an ambassador here for that. Another step would be the High Duchy. Talk to them about
Fereldur is apparently going to be sending a diplomatic envoy to the coronation.
Okay.
Obviously, you're free to negotiate if you wanted to try and negotiate, anything on top of that. But obviously, they plan to send an envoy to be in attendance and
Yeah. Okay.
to greet the new Duchess. Sorry, new Countess.
New Countess. Viserys already has a sending stone with good Viscount.
Yes. You do not yet know if the Viscount himself plans to be in attendance.
Viserys might actually extend that invitation.
Personally extend one.
Personally extend it. I feel like that's a solid idea. Personally extend an invitation.
If only for the hey, look what's about. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me.
Don't worry. You'll get booze and you'll love it. The drama.
Is that how you're going to pitch it? It's going to be a very dramatic evening.
Yeah. I think that's how Ceres. Based on our previous communication, I think that'll work well. So yeah, I think Ceres will sort of play it as it will be a coronation to remember.
Ooh, being vague about it in that sense. Okay.
Yeah. It'll be vague, obviously. Don't want to give away the trees. Come on.
Very well. You send out your invitation then to the Viscount. You don't know 100% if he'll come or not. But based on the rather polite and flowery response you get back, you're fairly confident that he'll be sending someone on his own behalf at least. Though hopefully himself will show up as well. It seems your invitation went across quite positively. Your sending stone does help here. Both Ferelda and the Viscount are both sending diplomats. Is there anything you wish to do with the dwarves, or any other diplomacy you're trying to aim at?
The dwarves. I sort of want to open the negotiations about allying in our favour in the wars to come, specifically with how this war with the Duke is going to unstabilize that eastern front of the Dukes near the orcs, and sort of twist it in a way that it's a conflict that we don't want, but know that we cannot avoid. It will be something that we fight, and will likely win with the potential strength that we will have. And the faster we win it, the more stable those orc fronts remain, and the safer their hold is from orc invasion. So perhaps some aid from them would be in both our interests.
You may go speak with Klein Shattershield then. You've not really spoken much to the Dwarven Ambassador, actually.
You know, they've been pretty cool. I like them.
You enter into the Dwarven Embassy, which has these kind of beautiful dwarven statues on the outside, massively tall, with dwarves with war hammers kind of sticking down, each of them holding a broken shield. Quite dramatic, as you enter in. You see there's a number of helpers, both human and dwarven, kind of moving around. But you can very quickly get yourself an appointment with the ambassador himself. And entering into his office, you see, his picture can be seen, of course, on the Sorkai map for anyone who hasn't seen it. But a slightly melancholy dwarf sits behind the diplomat's table. As he looks up to you, and his kind of droning, almost monotonous voice. Miss Talanio, yes. Please make yourself at home. What bids you this fine day?
Ceres will make herself at home, and then I suppose just be quite blunt with it. I think the shatter shields that we've encountered before have quite liked bluntness, so Ceres will say, well, quite honestly, I'm sure, Klein, that you've noticed the tensions that are building, the preparations that have been going on in our fair city.
Yes, of course. Hard to get in some sleep with all the racket.
And I'm sure you are well aware of what's causing such tensions.
Drill, drill, drill. Your people are preparing for a fight.
We are. Not entirely a fight that we want. By all means, if we wanted to wage war, we would hide and sit low and make sure we have time to prepare, but that is not going to be what happens. When coronation occurs of the good countess, the Duke isn't going to take the news kindly. And you and I both know what the Duke's temper is like.
I try to avoid him. He's fickle.
Precisely. So, we know what tensions he holds with his armies, what fronts he controls. And at the moment, that growing orc problem is being held reasonably comfortably at bay. However, we know that as men become desperate in wars they believe are so easily won, begin to turn against them, they will do stupid things. Turn forces that shouldn't be turned away to other lines. Opening up room for savage orcs to pillage and find other holds to claim, to plunder, to cause mayhem and burn crops. And we know exactly where the Duke will remove his forces first. So, I would say that we should come up with a good mutual agreement between our people. We don't want a fight, but it's a fight we're going to get. And you know that we're not going to be able to avoid it. You know what the Duke is like, regardless of what we do.
Do understand this is your fight, not that of my people.
I would not expect the Shatter Shields to come and fight. But your people create some of the best war engines in the lands. Some we have 5 of at the moment.
You wish to procure additional siege engines then?
Procure, loan, perhaps as a mutual agreement between our people, knowing that we can clear this trouble quicker and make sure that your borders remain free of troublesome people.
Attempt a persuasion roll.
Sure.
Klein seems to be staring you up and down.
I'm gonna burn my inspiration.
Oh my.
Yeah, and those are +1. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to use my magical guidance.
Oh my.
To reroll. 18.
Understand. My hands are tied. We do not wish to take action to make ourselves the enemy. While I have full confidence that I'm sure you and your people will do fine. We are a neutral party in this fight. That said, I'm sure I may be able to loan you a couple of our ballistae which are no longer in service. I don't think anyone will notice.
It's not bad. Getting some ballistas on the sly from the ambassador.
Ballistas on the sly. It's a pretty good deal.
These are some ballistas that fell off a dwarven wagon.
He will under the table provide you 3 additional ballistae.
Okay. Alright.
But he does not wish to do more at the threat of raising ire from the Duke.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Bringing you now up to 8 ballistae.
That's reasonable. I mean, they were so useful during the siege, like the Battle of Siege of Freyfrost.
Also, just having siege engines in general is useful.
Yeah.
Because it turns out if the enemy has defenses, your normal troops don't do much against them.
Yeah. So okay, I'm happy with that. It's a good outcome.
Your contract, your golems can do some stuff, but not the best. Your ballista are going to do the best for you here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can just start smashing down gates with ballistic. Or if the enemy happens to have a dragon, but that seems unlikely.
I mean, we have a dragon, kind of.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, I've had that on my like to-do list forever.
Voodoo dragon? What?
There's a construct ice dragon that
Oh yeah, that
is
thing.
lying around.
That's going to take significantly longer to work on.
Oh yeah, I know, but that's been on my to-do list to do.
That would be one of the few units you could get with the type of monster.
Yeah, one of these days, man, we're gonna have that thing up and running.
Or possibly type of Colossus. It's a big thing.
Ceres might ride it into battle majestically.
Yes. Yeah, the 3 additional ballista gives you a little bit extra power, and of course will significantly help if when you're in a siege situation. Scramble as you will, though, to have to get more people trained to use a ballista, but that's a different issue. You can handle that.
And Reichhold, we're not really got the time to talk to them because that would mean traveling. Don't have a sending stone with
Your
them yet.
best bet might be trying to approach the middle of the coronation.
Yeah.
Alright, that's what we got, I guess. I mean,
got.
you could probably prep Rochelle first so she can like make preparations, maybe, because she's here. No, she's not. No, she is.
No,
Yeah,
she
she's
is.
it.
She's in the treasury of the palace.
The gold. She's
She'd be
laying on
like,
top of
hey,
it.
this might happen. What do you suggest? Maybe she has her own people she can start sending feelers out to. I don't know.
Rochelle seems apprehensive if the subject is brought up to her.
Apprehensive.
What about discussing Reichhold? Why?
I mean, as part of the problem of apprehension, people don't generally just tell you why.
Sorry, I gotta be back.
But it seems the subject has a skittish for some reason.
Okay. I mean, ask her straight out why.
I mean, if Amna you wish to approach her.
I mean, if the diplomat is AFK for unknown amounts of time, then
She's having really long meetings with the dwarves right now. The ambassador is. She accidentally got the ambassador on the topic of dwarven plump helmets, and it just hasn't stopped.
Oh man, those plump helmets.
Sure, let's go.
His
Let's go.
favorite.
Let's talk to her.
Yes. Hamanas will approach Rochelle in the treasury, where I imagine she sleeps on top of the gold.
Not quite. She is. As you're entering, she just finished an argument with a tax collector who failed to collect all of his dues.
Yes. You should probably be hanged for that, but we can talk about that later.
She seems to have ate his ear out a bit.
Well, Amanas will wave off the petty bureaucrat and will then talk with her. And he will say, we basically explain the plan to her and what we plan to do. And that Reichhold is on the shopping block, so to speak. It is what we have bargained with our dear neighbor for their part of their reward for supporting us and giving us Alcem. And he wants to hear her reactions to that, since she has been an ally of Reichhold in the past.
Amna, throw me an insight check immediately.
Oh yeah, I am not good at that at all.
I mean, I'm with you, right?
Yeah.
You could be if you wanted to be.
Yeah,
Any-
yeah.
Anyone is free to summon themselves for the conversation. So.
I would like to be with him because I
I
like
mean,
being there. So
if I'm there, I can give you like an 8.
I don't know if you are there.
I don't know if I'm there.
Then you probably are not. If you don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, let me 23.
There's a lot of anxiety in her as soon as you mention, as soon as the topic's brought up. Also, almost a twinge of guilt you see in the back of her mind for a second.
Mm.
As Dame Rochelle listens and pauses. I suppose that's how these situations go. Your ally would want land, I guess. That makes sense.
It's not what we would have wished for to give away, but we are in a situation where we need to make some concessions to get what we want.
Whitecold hasn't done anything to you. So far, they've been nothing but trade partners for us.
That is true. However, the Duke, well, has the means to force them to enter this conflict.
We simply want to secure our western flank, and we would hope that your old benefactor would consider actually siding with us instead of being invaded. There's no love lost between him and the Duke.
It's one thing for him to secretly back me. It's a very different thing for him to just betray his own cousin.
Yeah, he shrugs. Well, the simple matter of fact is that if he doesn't, he's going to get invaded, and the cost of that will be quite steep for him.
Also, we've have evidence that the Duke is, well, sabotaging his own cousin, and so I feel that, given that knowledge, he may feel a bit more, well, angered to act.
He will certainly not get sabotaged under under our regime, and we were hoped that you would be able to smooth the way and help Lady Ceres with the diplomatic negotiations to sway him to actually join us, or at least remain neutral and let the Duchess's troops come through if needed.
I can try.
He would switch one master for another, which might not be what he hopes for, but the new one should surely be better than the old one.
I'll try to have a word. I've not spoken with him in quite a while.
He nods and says, I am sure you will be quite successful. He did spend a lot of time and energy to fuel your resistance against the church, which in extension was one of the plots his cousin was involved in, after all. He's no stranger to working against him.
Also, Rochelle, as Vic is kind of takes a hard look at her, and
Yes.
the subject itself, of course, is quite. It's not an easy one. However, Is there something else you wish to say?
Wish to say no. Obliged to say probably.
It is not my intention to force you, however, perhaps it would help if you shared.
Me and the Count Reinhardt have previously had intimate relations.
Oh,
Ah,
wait. Is Arkle a product of that relationship?
No.
Insight.
I was a bit too quick for
Hmm.
a bit too quick for an answer. Let's see.
Amos, you don't think she's lying.
Alright. Vickers. Oh, she's fucking lying.
Vicus,
Yeah.
you don't think she's lying, though you do think for a brief second she was uncertain.
Oh.
Ah, okay.
Like, she doesn't think that
Right.
it's that.
But
So wait,
okay.
so Arkle's father is unknown?
no, it's more that it's probably the fact that she had let's say multiple suitors within the same period, and
No, that's
so
what I mean. Yeah, so she doesn't know who's the dad.
She thinks she knows who the dad is, but it
Yeah.
cannot say 100%.
I see.
She has like 90% certainty, but that's still
Oh.
10% like,
We should invest in a sage to cast a legend lore to find out.
it's okay. Well, Vicus will nod slowly. And say, well, I can understand now why you would be apprehensive on approaching him for such a matter.
I've not
However,
really spoken to him much since then. It was, it was a night of passion sort of thing.
no doubt. But our intentions are plainly to seek no loss of life. It would be. We do not want Reichhold to suffer.
It is for the reason that they have been beneficial to us that we wish to smoothen this transition as much as possible. If they had been adversaries, we wouldn't have a second thought to this, honestly.
But Reichhold has been good to us, and as such, we wish to preserve their people and their place. So I understand that it may be difficult or awkward, Rochelle, but I will speak plainly that I think that your presence will help. If not for
I can try at least.
me not. That is all we can ask. Given your affiliation and what you've done for us, we both felt it was prudent that we speak to you about this. It is our understanding that we will have an opportunity to speak once the coronation approaches. So you will have time to think.
I said I will do my best I can here.
Good. I am sure Lady Ceres will be along to talk some strategy along these lines. In the meantime, I would suggest you steal your resolve, Lady Rochelle. I know it is not what you wished for, but when you tossed your lot in with us, there would be some changes and some sacrifices have to be made to achieve greatness.
I will serve as I promised.
He nods. Excellent. Then he will leave because this conversation for him is over unless she wants to bring anything up.
She does not. She is very uncomfortable.
Most excellent.
I guess we'll give her a bit of a sympathizing look before he leaves. Bit of an
Also-
awkward situation.
Who is the father of Arkland?
Who does she think it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. You can ask if you want.
Wonder who Arkland thinks it is.
Now you're digging into questions.
Yeah, what has she said to him?
And if it is not who she thinks it is, then it has implications for Arkland's like position.
He could, yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll find out one day.
Yep. All right. Trying to think of something else that we wish to prepare for.
As the kind of clock then moves forward a bit, there's going to be a returning group to the city.
Yay! Hopefully they're okay.
Comes back in
They're
shambles.
just like in pieces. Yeah. This was
My
so-
lord, this is what we found. Bloody scraps on the mountain. Oh.
There's a car, sheep.
Yeah.
Would you both give me a d20 for me?
Oh no.
Yeah, you haven't rolled very much.
Oh boy. Alright, perfectly average.
12. That's like the most boring roll possible.
Pretty boring, yeah.
It's slightly above average.
Yes, 1 over average.
Isa,
Yes.
would you also like to give me a d20?
Nothing exciting ever has happened when someone rolled a 12.
On a 12, nothing happened. True.
Unless you're adding to a roll. Oh.
Alright.
You know, 16 has like this dangerous flair to it. I like it.
I mean,
A
the
little
good,
bit spicy, but not too much.
the good news is everyone returns alive.
Right.
All right.
Obviously, that's the bare minimum, but everyone's returned alive.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. As you hear reports that the expedition has returned back, anyone, of course, can go greet them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
I
Theo is there.
expect
Vickers
them
is
to
gone.
report back. I don't go to them. They're going to report back to me, surely.
I mean, certainly. Their plan is to go back to start off with going back to Knight's Hall to unload.
Sure. I mean, I await the report.
Fair enough. Which you can certainly do. If Vickers wishes to intercept.
I mean, he wants to know, but I mean, he also respects Amonas's decision, and so he will act in accordance with his king and will wait. I'm sure if something horrible happened, they would immediately go up here and be like, "Hey."
I would assume, yes.
Yeah.
And it's up to them to report to us, not the other way around.
I see.
Yes. Proper structure and protocol is important.
As they return back, it's very clear that there were some combats.
Right.
That's good.
The forces, it's very clear that some of the forces up there in the mountains from the various goblinoids, yeah, they definitely fought back, but very clearly though, your expedition came out victorious despite their lack of healer.
Hooray.
Great.
As so Sir Gillian, as the definitive lead, will kind of lead the front into your throne room for the debrief.
Yes.
My liege.
Amnas will nod, generously from atop his throne, and they will and say, "Ah, Sir Gillian, it heartens me to see you return from your bold quest. Now, tell us, how did you fare?"
There was a significantly entrenched goblin encampment dug deep into the mountains along into the Dwarven ruins. In total, I counted about 40 heads.
All right.
Well, 40 fighting heads. There were
Yeah,
some
so-
other ones, but they ran away.
It's certainly a respectable force.
In addition, we also had to contend with an unexpected threat of a small battalion of bugbears.
Oh. Have run into some bugbears before, I seem to recall.
It appears that they had been trying to whip the goblins into a attack force. To limited success.
Goblins aren't very good at being whipped into shape.
Firstly, he makes a gesture to Luck, who approaches forward, and you see the small halfling carrying a rather massive chest on his shoulder.
Ooh.
That he lays down before you. Plunder.
Do like plunder.
And of course, we give this amount of it to you in your treasury.
All of these are very, very good words. Yes.
This will add an additional pip to your treasury.
Oh,
Hey.
sweet. Great.
As it seems to be full of a variety of admittedly well damaged, still like valuable metal items from the dwarven ruins.
Out of curiosity, excuse me, how much have they kept for themselves?
I don't have an exact gold piece value, but they basically express how much they've kept, and it's a reason they've kept a reasonable like adventurer pay basically for themselves.
That's fine. They, good service.
They've not been overly greedy with the amounts they're reporting.
There we go. So Gillian is an honest man and would never betray our trust in such a petty manner, I'm sure. All right. Well, is the goblin threat then quelled?
Oh, sorry, I just realized it's 2 pips of money actually.
Oh,
Because there was a 16 from Isa, which is 2 pips.
king.
The threat has been eliminated for the time being. Whilst there were some stragglers, it will take quite a while for the goblins to kind of make the vague hand gesture repopulate.
Mm-hmm.
That's assuming they find somewhere else to make it a stronghold, but they're goblins, so presumably they will.
All right. Well, Amnas will say, I believe you have done very well. I am quite pleased with your performance, all of you. Good work. You have made me proud to have sent you out. Now, look at them and say, now you can have some time of rest and recuperation, and then we shall return to the preparations for the coming conflict. So, Gillian, in particular, I believe it is time for you to take your rightful place at the council as my general.
You do me an honor, sir.
He nods and says, I have seen your your strong will and your ambition on the field, and I believe that is what we need in these coming times.
He's trying his best not to show it, but he has this very proud expression on his face.
Amanas has a knowing nod or thought to Vickers, who I assume is having the telepathy up, and he will be yes, good.
I will move into my new role as soon as I can.
And then he'll gesture to Arkland to, basically tell him to when he's done resting up and patching himself up in any way he needs, he should resume his duties and attend to Amina. Been far too sloppy work on polishing the armor and such in his absence. It's quite upsetting. And also gives him a chance to show off the new moves he has surely learned on his incredible quest.
Yes, his new moves. We'll get to that.
Because this was excuse me, but this was like the first time for him, like in the field, right? He hasn't really done any.
This was the first time in the field, unsupervised by yourself.
Right.
So it's kind of his first away. It's definitely his first kind of away mission, where, he is a major player instead of just support.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great.
Luck and Miaru don't have anything particular to report to you. We'll be returning back to the Elven camp unless you're leaving for them.
Yep, that's very good.
I mean, there's always the question of will they fight if the fighting comes as far back as Sorkai? Like, if we're pushed back, will they protect the lands that they have and their new ally?
That's an unknown for the time being.
I don't think we can count on it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, even if they said, I don't think that's particularly.
If they're threatened, they'll obviously fight back. But
yeah,
they might just pick up and move away.
I think that's probably what they would do.
Yeah, I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I would say if I was them and it came to that, I would certainly be like, just pack up and go.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Thing.
Yeah, have fun. Yes, indeed. Who is Arkland's dad? Is it anyone famous? Or is it just some dude?
It's the Duke of Alsand. That'd be a plot twist, wouldn't it?
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah. That's where the betrayal comes. Arkland stabs Amanas in the back in the middle of battle.
Yeah, that would certainly be very dramatic.
Are we discussing Arkland's inevitable betrayal?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That he's secretly Alsend's
Plotting.
love child.
Yeah. Does he have a striking likeness to Duke of Alsand?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Rochelle's blonde hair, his bone structure.
Yes, yes. Okay, we need to employ some diviners to figure this out.
Arkland does want to would like to speak to Amanas in private when he has the
Certainly.
opportunity.
Yeah, he certainly has that right. Can visit Amanas in his quarters.
Very well. How has Amanas decorated his quarters? Has he gone very regal and royal, or is it very like militaristic?
It's probably very militaristic, honestly. The finery of court is useful, but it's not something he leans on. He projects more martial power and like militaristic autocracy more than anything else, probably.
It's more practical room than lavish room, then.
Yeah. Again, he knows that the propaganda and stuff is very effective. So there's banners and things like that. But his private quarters, not that much gold filigree and stuff in it. More practical, I would
Just
say.
whatever was left over from the elves in the first place.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Or whatever gifts he has received. I think he got some stuff from like the dwarves or whatever.
You have received a number of small little gifts, banners, tapestries, similar things. A fine pelt rug, perhaps.
Exactly.
As Arkland will knock and enter into your quarters when you call him. You're getting a better look at him now. He's kind of no longer necessarily in full armor. No.
Yeah.
You can definitely see on him a bit of a scar that he's gotten on his arm. Looks like he took a pretty bad hit while up there, but well, what's a warrior about scars, right?
Oh, I know a fair bit of it myself, I believe.
Lord.
Nods. Arkland.
While I was out in the field, Sir Gillian was speaking to me about some of the same things I've been asking you about, the oaths that you've underwent, the powers that you have.
He nods. Yes, it is a sacred covenant I have made with sort of things. With myself, my bloodline, and the patron saint of the imperial family, I believe. When a king or someone with enough determination swears such an oath, can have profound changes. It is words of power.
He said he wanted to renew his vows up there on the mountain, using it as a chance to reaffirm to himself, and he invited me to join him.
And did you?
I sat beside him, and I did make prayers of my own. I don't really have an oath in the same way to quite reaffirm. Nothing as powerful as what he said. But Arkan seemed to pause, very uncertain what to think,
Mm-hmm.
as he tries to kind of muster words. I felt like as I was speaking out, like I could hear something calling back. Just like for a moment, I felt like a power rush through me. I don't know what it was. As he kind of holds his hand up for a moment, and you see his hand. You see kind of like through the gauntlet he's got on. He kind of slides it off, and you can see a very faint, gentle glow for a second. He kind of musters his might to kind of push it out.
Oh. Amanas leans forward, quite interested.
As Amanas, with your own training, he's taken his first steps into paladinhood.
He nods.
This is the beginning of a lay on hands, assuming you wish to encourage it.
Yes. Amanas nods and says, "Well, Arkland, it seems to me that you have taken a step forward on your personal journey. It seems to me that you have indeed the potential, the makings of a true hero, if that is what you wish. What you have displayed here is indeed a sign of the paladin, the holy knight, the shining example of the virtues they swear to uphold or swear themselves to. I have done so, and I believe Sir Gillian has done so in his own way. My advice to you would be to think quite carefully on the next steps. Think of what you want, what you feel that you deserve, and what your aim for your life should be. If that answer is that you wish to serve me and serve my court, I would be happy to accept your vows. Such vows sworn to me, the true heir to the throne and the sovereign of these lands, will hold power and will imbue you with a might that you have never felt before. But such vows are serious matters, Arkland. They cannot be broken easily. For to break them would be to, well, betray the very thing that you have sworn to uphold. It would likely break your soul. So before you make any such vows, you must be sure that you actually mean it. Do not take them lightly.
He pauses and nods. I'll need to give thought to it, but he's clearly some of the words you said are definitely like ringing in the back of his head. You definitely noticed a change in expression when you said like the makings of a hero.
Mm-hmm. He nods and says, quite understandable. As I said, there is great potential in you. And every great king needs his trusty bodyguard and his confidant, the one who helps him in manners that his normal sortier and courtiers cannot. The leader of the King's Guard, if you will. I'm going to study him quite intently.
To serve, to protect, to keep those around me safe.
He nods. Yes, that is the charge of the knight. And if you are to swear to me, you need to believe in the cause. And believe that I am just in reclaiming my crown. And to swear to support me in my ambitions to do so. the cause you swear yourself to, as I said, you must believe in. So search your feelings, search your soul, and try to see what it is you actually believe, you actually want for your future. I can offer a lot to you, Arklan. But in return, I do require your loyalty.
He nods. Yeah, I'll think about it. Thank you.
Amunas graciously, pats him as he hopes, grandfatherly on his shoulder to encourage him.
Would you be able to help me at least understand how to use? He kind of shows like the glowing hand again.
He nods and says, "Certainly, I shall be happy to offer any and all my insights, both on the training field as well as in the more mysterious arts of the powers that we can command as true paladins." And he will produce his own like healing hands sort of effect, which I imagine is much stronger and more like potent.
With that, we'll fade the scene for the moment. But with this confirmation and with Amanus's guidance, Arctons will now be restatted from being a warrior sidekick to now being a level 2 paladin.
He's one step away from taking his vows, I believe.
He is level 3. He will have to decide his vow.
Yeah, that's great. Amanus will, as a result of this, intensify the training with him, both like martial and also teach him to channel the magical side of it, because it's not like casting a spell necessarily. It is producing your will, in a way.
Yes.
Battle prayers, if you will.
The power of a paladin is to draw upon one's own oaths, to use one's own energy to turn that divine power.
He will also offer Arkland prayer at his own personal shrine, because if he is to swear an oath of paladinhood, presumably like an oath of the crown or something similar.
The oath of paladin sounds like where you're trying to guide him.
It is the one in my mind that I think would fit the best for Arkland, because that would be swearing directly to Amanus and not something else, which is something Amanus approves of. If Arkland were to swear to some sort of deity or something, he might get into his head that he needs to oppose Amanus and what's coming. Because Amanus is not trying to be evil, but he's a person who does what needs to be done, and he needs loyalty for that. And if you're like a lawful good stick in the mud paladin, you might have you might oppose some of the stuff that might be coming. But if you have an oath of the crown, well, I mean, you're sworn to the sovereign, right? So that'll be more difficult.
It's in the direction you've been pushing him so far.
Yes. That said, if Arkland feels that some other vow would be more relevant to him, Amanus, he is open to discuss and guide. Crown is probably he would push him towards like just inherently, but if Arkland expresses like a great belief in something else, then I mean that's valid too. This is a vow of belief, so he must believe in it himself. Otherwise, it won't work.
But of course, you're nurturing this new spirit in him, so
yes,
you do get a good say here.
Yes, quite a bit. But yeah, he can pray at the personal shrine of Amanus as well.
Quite the honor.
Yes, of course.
Is Amanus excited seeing like this development in Arkland?
Yes, I think so. Arkland was always like I know he's a bit soft. He comes from a life of privilege, and even though he's been trained and stuff, he's always been book learning or training in a dojo. He's never been battlefield tested, and to see him potentially harden and actually develop as a warrior on his own right, and also maybe finding his own destiny, because Amanus has always perceived him as a bit lost. That excites him. If Artland can find his way, and that way is to support Amanas, and he does that willingly without any cajoling or anything, I mean, that's great. Amanas has enough of browbeating like nobles and other cretins to do what he demands of them, but someone doing so willingly is very gratifying. Speaks to his to the justice of his divine mission that people willingly flock to it, right?
Yeah, Arklin seems happy at the development. He just was very uncertain exactly what had happened to him.
Yes. So what oath is Sir Gillian, out of curiosity?
That you don't know.
Need to pump Arklin for information. What vows did he say?
You know, Sir Gillian is primarily a fighter, but obviously he clearly has some kind of a paladin-esque in him.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a paladin.
He was primarily a fighter.
Oh, okay.
He never had that much divine strength behind him, though he was very pious himself.
Right.
That said, things might be changing recently.
Interesting. I like this. I like the spawning of like a small like divine knighthood around Amnest. I like that. That's a good view. But yeah, Arkland has performed pretty well, and also the crown seems very fitting for what he's doing.
Yeah, as a current second level paladin, it does mean he has access to lay on hands. He has access to divine smite.
Oh yeah,
and 2 spell slots.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Teaching him to smite. Summon up his holy wrath against his foes.
Yeah, right now he's lacking divine health and of course his oath because he doesn't know what his own oath is yet.
Yeah, indeed. I haven't seen him angry. That's going to be the thing to get the smite going. Like what infuriates him, what incenses him to such a degree that he can call down divine punishment upon it.
A wonderful question.
Yes, indeed. Gonna have to figure that stuff out for sure. For a conquest paladin like Amnes, it's easy. It's like anything that stands in his way. It's just ripe for smiting. But for Arkland, kind of soft-hearted, good-natured guy, at least at the moment. Yeah, we'll see.
It may end up being focused more on things that defy his view of justice, whatever that might be.
Indeed.
Though admittedly, his view of justice is being pushed to align with Amnes being on the side of justice.
Yes, good, that kid, good. Very good.
Because obviously you've treated him and his family and people around, as far as you seem like, you might be scary, but you treat everyone around you nicely. So,
I mean, as long as you don't oppose Amanas or fail him spectacularly, I think he's quite reasonable. But as soon as you're perceived as an enemy, you need to be destroyed immediately.
Sergei has now taken office in the barracks.
All right.
Replacing the sergeant who was trying to keep the place running.
Oh God, that sergeant. Yeah, Gillian needs to get that up and running. It is an absolute embarrassment.
It's fine. The sergeant could do her main thing now, which is actually be like, part of the police force instead of just being Because technically, she's supposed to be one of Torin's people, but you know.
Yeah.
But you had no person to run the military, so she was doing her best to like keep everyone in line.
Well, we appreciate the effort. That's all I can say.
But yes, with that though, that Arkland is now prestiged up. His primary class is locked in. The question is where he will develop from here.
Oh yes, I am eager to see his development.
Okay. Speaking of sheep,
Yeah.
speaking of the sergeant before, Sergeant Arena actually will approach Torin while he is doing work somewhere. I'll let you set the scene for where exactly he's currently working, be it training other troops, in his office, arresting someone. You take a choice.
It's probably one of those times where Torin is just doing a patrol through the city. He's got like two of his guards with him. He's using the opportunity not just to walk around and observe, but also to just give a lecture, basically. Multitasking. Always do two things. That means you can do more things, right? So he'd be like walking around with two of his people until that he's currently lecturing about what to look out for, at least in his mind, that suggest that you might need to investigate better. It's sort of like that, I think.
The sergeant approaches up towards your patrol group, though she kind of passes you a look like she wants your attention, but also it's clearly not in a way to interrupt what you're currently doing and letting you finish your current lecture.
Torin pauses fairly quickly as he sees that she wants his attention. Does like a hand gesture to tell his two students here to wait. She'll turn towards the sergeant, looking expectantly.
Commander Torin?
Sergeant?
I have been working with one of our guests, the Lady Eliza, helping prepare for her coronation. I have just discovered that apparently members of her staff have apparently been. It seems like there might have been people trying to sneak into the festivity grounds.
People trying to sneak in. Do you know who they are, what they want? Is this a threat that needs to be dealt with, or a concern of yours?
I'm not sure who sent them, but our running suspicion is potentially the Duke. The Duke is trying to spy on what's going on.
I see.
Well,
Have you caught any of them?
We have not managed to catch any yet, but if I have your permission, I would like to bring some more of our guards force over to increase security.
Not only do you have my permission, I will personally get involved as soon as I'm able. If you have ideas on how to best tackle this threat, then I'm all ears.
Well, there's given the fact that they seem to be searching around. Our best bet for the moment may simply just be increasing vigilance to try. But I will do my best to see if I can figure out what their target is.
Understood. We could also attempt to have less obvious. Oh, what's the word? I don't want to use undercover cops, but that's basically what I'm thinking.
Plain clothes.
Plain clothes guardsman.
Cover upper is it?
Arena nods. That's a possibility. Most of our forces aren't suited for that, but there may be some individuals I can pull out who would be well suited for that kind of operation.
Make sure to bring these concerns to Vickers as well.
Understood. As you, I'll be taking them over to the festivity grounds as soon as I'm done with him. Then.
Or nods. Basically, tell us to charges that the lesson is cancelled and they should get back to patrolling properly. While he will go and arrange, more eyes on things in general to catch these stupid spies. Spies are definitely something that he feels are partly his responsibility. Although Vickers might have his own ideas on how to hunt these guys.
Mhm.
Obviously, people breaking into places that they shouldn't be is an issue.
It is. In general, even, not just spies.
But in that case, Vickers will also receive a visit from Sergeant Arena.
Okay. Well, given the information,
She'll relay this kind of the same information. Yes.
yes. Well, given that, he'll think for a moment and say, well, I think that your suggestion to send more men over is quite a good idea, and also given Torrens' involvement here, I think I can assist in the fact that if you are attempting to capture these people, then perhaps I can organize a trap for them. You see, I have some experience in the ways of how you would infiltrate such a place, and I think I'll be able to direct you to the places that are most vulnerable.
Very well. She nods. Any help would be appreciated, sir.
Yes, you will also have my assistance as well. I share Torrens' view that having any infiltration or spying is unacceptable. And so we must find who has done it and extract who, why, and how. He kind of gives her a bit of a bit of a merciless smile for a moment before he drops it and then lets her go.
Arena will head out then to organize the people she needs to.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting point of people trying to spy on your actions.
It's expected. I mean, we're doing the same, so
It's true. There are spies everywhere.
yeah. There's always spies everywhere. Everyone's a spy.
Do the two of you wish to alert anyone else to the presence of spies?
In Vicus's view, I think it's well handled at this point. I don't think he needs to tell anyone else, but maybe
Very
Torrin
well.
has other ideas.
No, I think Vickers and Torrin are the people who need to deal with this.
Yeah.
And it's not like it hasn't escalated yet. Oh, they're spies. Okay, we should deal with that. But it's not like everything is at risk.
Yeah. Besides, the more people we bring, the less, the less easy it is to actually track them and not have them notice. So
Yeah, it sounded like the two of you might want to do a very hands-on kind of look at this.
Yes, that's correct.
Understood. In which case, the two of you venture down the road to Freyfrost then to go examine examine the Coronation Grounds as they're being prepared. Beautiful location, all being put together here, as you can see. All they're doing that. They're doing their best to kind of renovate this old kind of religious ground to be very suitable for holding kind of massive festivities. For the oaths to be held for. It should be a night to remember after all. You can around here. You can also find Lord Raiden, who has been here, seemingly directing operations. As steward, any kind of major construction project only comes under his purview. You also find Arena there, who seemed to have a couple extra guards posted at the gate, and at your recommendations, some undercover ones. Just trying to blend in with the construction team for the moment.
Yep.
Arena can give you a more up-to-date kind of information of what they've spotted so far. And apparently there have been 2 sightings from the staff so far.
All right.
There have been multiple people spotted out in the nearby forest, seemingly kind of just keeping an eye on the location. They found basically a small viewing nest put up in one of the trees that looks like someone was watching from.
Okay.
They also found inside of the festivity grounds what appears to be signs of someone having broken in through the back door during the evening.
Okay.
Though they didn't find the individual.
It's true, but they might have left signs that might pinpoint where they went. So maybe that might be the first port of call to check that out.
Up to you.
Yeah, I think Vickers will want to check out because the viewing area in the forest is kind of like okay. They didn't. It's not an overt location, so it's a bit more difficult. But this is clearly someone breaking in, so should be more tracks to follow here.
You
Hopefully.
could investigate, or you could roll me a survival roll.
Let's see.
Either of you can roll for me here if you're investigating.
Investigation or some.
I think Torin would take a different approach to investigating this.
That's fine.
This seems to be a Vickers thing.
Sure. Yeah, I can try investigation. Let's see. $21.
21. Okay. With a 21, Vickers does manage to find a couple of small clues to where this individual might have gone. A couple of scuff marks, a few knocked over things. You kind of slowly put together a slight path. It's a bit difficult. It seems the individual was trying to avoid the patrols going around, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But from what you can tell, it looked like they tried breaking into. It looks like they tried breaking into one of the back areas, which, to looking at it, appears to be where Raiden has been setting up like all the blueprints and documents.
Oh. I see.
Well, it doesn't look like they got through the lock on the door. It appears Raiden, thankfully, being quite the savvy individual, had it quite well locked.
That's good.
So it was clear that they tried, they just didn't succeed this time.
Yeah, I'll make a note to have him fortify that a little bit more, given that it's being targeted. Okay. So roughly, whereabouts does it lead from here then?
From there, it looks like the person perhaps was getting close to getting caught and fled.
Okay.
But it looks like their target was something inside of Raiden's office there, the festival ground.
Yeah.
Perhaps they're after blueprints. Who knows?
Is there anything in that is like of obvious significant interest, or is it just more miscellany that they could have taken anything from?
In the office, Raiden can basically go explain to everything in there.
Yeah.
There is, of course, the construction blueprints of the entire place, including the old blueprints for the building before the renovations.
Right.
There is there's some tool. There's a few tools in there. The other thing that comes to mind for Raiden is he's also been storing in there a couple of the implements that for like the coronation rituals.
Oh, right. Okay.
Such as like a ceremonial chalice that's always used and that kind of stuff, which are currently being kept in that office because the rest of the building's not finished yet.
Right. Yeah, so I guess they could be trying to sabotage that, but also find a way in with the blueprints. So, sucks. Right.
What's Torin up to meanwhile?
Torrent's more of a people person. You know, if there's someone sneaking around the city, they're likely not skulking through the shadows, but rather just blending into the crowds and such. He would like to spend his time basically trying to figure out if there's someone like that around. Someone who's just pretending to be a townsfolk, you know? It's more of a long-term investigation for sure, but
Sit on the street corner and just keep an eye out.
yeah. Like he knows what to look that there is something to look out for now, and maybe that will help him actually figure out who that is.
Sure. Inside, I assume you're trying to go with it?
I think that makes sense.
Sure.
Can smell thieves and spies. That's a net 20.
Whoa. Jesus
Apparently he can, yes.
He's got the
Halt!
diviner's eye.
Commander Torin, the bloodhound of Sorkai.
Halt, criminal scum.
Then pay with your blood.
Now, you're outside of your normal home turf of Sorkai as you're doing this bit of investigation. It does not matter to Torin. A criminal is a criminal. He can smell it a mile away. As you kind of just keep a watch out. People pass. That guy's probably some petty street thief, but that's no concern to you. That guy's clearly having an affair with his wife. Again, not your concern. Then you spot someone who, as soon as they kind of cross eyes with you, seems to immediately avert them slightly faster than you'd expect, and seems to make a beeline to kind of start trying to hide themselves in the crowd. Whoever it is recognized who you were, and you definitely don't think they're supposed to be here.
Yeah, alright. This is probably a maneuver that Torin has planned with his guards. He's not gonna go chasing that guy himself. No, he's gonna signal the men he has on the other side where this guy is walking to basically flush this guy out, and then just Torin will stand in the way when he tries to turn the other way again.
We'll ride that natural 20 of yours. The person runs off into the crowd, and suddenly you hear a clank as the kind of crowd parts, and you see the person basically ran headfirst into Sergeant Arena's breastplate.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice.
Because her and some of the other guards are having making ready to pincer if anyone acts suspicious. As she very quickly kind of grabs the person by their arms so they can't wriggle away and just let you come over.
Torin slumps forward, looks the guy up and down.
The individual in question appears to be in their mid-20s. Mid-20s, human. Red hair with strange facial markings on them. Like strange, almost like tattooed facial markings on them. You certainly don't recognize them. And judging by their general attire, they don't seem to fit the general area you were surveying.
Do we recognize the tattoos, perhaps?
I don't believe Torin would.
I don't. Torrent doesn't have like history or anything. I don't think he would.
Ah, it's just some tattooed miscreant.
Though I can roll for someone who's on the scene. Yeah, what do you know? As Arena is going to do a whisper to Torin. I've seen this before. Alcend puts marks like that on a lot of their sorcerers.
Alcend spy. Needs to be put to the question immediately.
Torrent nods. Then basically says, restrain his hands, bind him. He shall not speak a word until we are in a secure location. If you are in fact a sorcerer, your magic will not help you get away. Do not worry, however. It is only a precaution. If you do turn out to be cooperative, then I'm sure we'll find a way to part ways again.
Arena and her people will restrain the prisoner for you.
Bring him to the prison. I shall talk to him first. Make sure that the king as well as vicars are informed.
A security alert will basically go out to all the player characters, just basically letting you know, like, hey, we captured a mage.
All right.
We captured a guy who allegedly is a mage and also a spy.
Yes.
Well, I mean, anything from Alcend is definitely a threat.
As Taurus is walking this guy to like a secure cell in the prisons, he'll basically do like a version of the Miranda rights, basically saying, You're accused of being a spy. We have to bind and gag you because we believe you're capable of using magic. Should this turn out to be a horrible misunderstanding, then we'll figure that out. But for now, cooperate and we'll work from there.
Very good.
Obviously, has been gagged just for the fact of like, oh hey, yeah, we don't, spells problem.
Yeah. Owen doesn't know how spellcasting works, but people need to say words for them and do gestures. He knows that much.
Yes, you know the basics there. Arena also confiscated some mana crystals actually from him.
Definitely very compromising.
She knows she doesn't know enough to identify anything about the mana crystals, but she's got a small little like satchel of them. Not satchel, like little pouch.
All right. Well, if informed, Amanas will be part of the questioning. If only in the beginning, at least, to provide some spell support. Because this is a quite potential dangerous person with a lot of information we might use. So when it comes to questioning, he would cast Zone of Truth. which would compel any creature in the aura to well, if they fail the save, they cannot speak a deliberate lie. And I know whether a creature has succeeded or failed the saving throw.
Rude, you get to know the answer.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be a good spell otherwise, because then it was like, oh,
I mean, classically in old editions, you didn't know the answer.
It's true. True, but it says here specifically that you do know if the creature succeeded or not.
they're also aware though that the spell's on.
Oh, they're aware that they're under effect. Yeah.
The most like if they can choose, of course, not to say anything, but
Yeah, certainly.
That-
But that would be very painful.
the point is they can't tell a lie. They can choose to say nothing, but they can't lie to you. So.
Vegas will send the knowledge that he determined about what they were looking for or what they had gotten to before they were forced to retreat. Might help.
Amulet, your first casting of Zone of Truth will be resisted.
All right. Well, we'll do a second casting of Zone of Truth then.
I will note that Steel will come to the area in the case of like need for healing and some like document reading.
Sure.
I mean, essentially, the entire council can be said, if nothing else, to be in that kind of like interrogation back room where they can just kind of watch what's going on without being involved.
The DC is a 16 Wisdom save.
They resisted again.
Wow, they're well conditioned, I gotta say. I mean, I can cast a few more.
Yeah, keep going, I guess.
Do
Yeah,
you
I
want
can-
my aid first, I guess?
I don't know how that would help. They need to fail.
Bane?
I mean, sure, you can bane him.
Sure, I can bane him first. So that is a DC 15 charisma save.
He's a sorcerer though, so it might be.
Yeah, it's probably good.
He fails versus the Bane.
So now he
Hey!
has D4
Minus
against-
on the.
minus on saves and attacks.
All right, let's try again. Zone of Truth. DC 16 minus 1d4 then on his roll.
He fails the third casting.
Hey, there you go.
All right, you got 10 minutes.
Yep. Of Amonas glaring at him in the zone.
Perhaps with a slight tinge of respect, like, yeah, not many people survive. Not many people need 3 separate castings.
I mean, they indoctrinate them pretty well, I suppose. Amonas waves that the questioning may commence if anyone wants to take the lead on it.
Yeah, Torn certainly will. Seems like his responsibility.
His hands continue to be bound, but of course his gag has been removed.
Yeah. Thorin will look at the guy, say, "What's your name?"
Lucan,
You're accused of being a spy. What would you say to that?
he tries answering, but you notice that he stops. Pauses. Tries answering again. Stops. Looks frustrated for a moment.
Amonas nods sagely in the corner.
The magic preventing you from lying is merely a convenience. I would know if you lied anyways.
Yes.
Yes, you are in fact a spy.
He nods.
Wonderful. Thorin sort of turns around. As far as he's concerned, this is already good enough.
Yeah, finish it up. Amonas will say, and you have been exactly. And you have been sent here by Alcend.
By his spy master.
What were your orders?
He looks very pale as you ask that.
Amonas looks back at him. What were your orders?
You feel free to roll an intimidation if you wish on this.
I'll do that. That would be a 17.
Also, remind me, how does your aura of dread work?
If he gets afraid of me, he starts taking my charisma modifier in ongoing psychic damage, I believe.
Okay.
He also can't move. His movements become 0.
He couldn't move anyway right now. It's restrained, but
Yeah.
he looks rather pale and begins to speak. It also looks like he maybe got a headache.
Yes.
We were told to retrieve documents on the layout of the festivities.
For what
For what
purpose?
Establish a infiltration and exfiltration route.
For what operation?
They didn't tell us what it was.
Amonas will conscientiously take 5-foot step back, so he is 15 feet away from the dude. So he's not like he leans back a little bit. I think he's made his point.
Are there others besides you?
Yes.
How many?
Two more of us. And then the networker who sent us.
And where are they now? All of your companions.
The other two are currently. He gives the name of one of the inns.
Take a look at Torn. I would suggest then that maybe we round them up.
I don't know where the networker is.
You know who they are.
Yes.
What is their name?
Calland Shaw.
And do they hail from Elsend or elsewhere?
I don't know where they come from, but they work for his spy master.
Just to confirm, do you know the name of the spy master?
I don't know.
And I assume that your lookout in the forest is also of your own doing, yes?
That was my companion's.
Has either you or any of your companions successfully retrieved any documents or information regarding your mission?
We've established. He grits his teeth, but they kind of starts looking at Torin and then off at Amulus as well.
Yes.
We figured out one of the infiltration routes they wanted.
Vegas will like send for like a local map or whatever. If you can.
You can extract the information.
Yep. All right. Guess we'll take from
That route needs to be under surveillance, and need to be some traps laid on that route, probably.
Would be nice if they thought that the route was so good and we ambushed them there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
So we were told, like, did Torn tell that the mark is basically like a marker that all the more like mages, I guess, or is it just sorcerers only that get the mark, or is it all magic users?
It's expressly the sorcerers are like what basically will fill it in, and the more magically inclined in the group can confirm this from what they've researched about the Duvel Send. Is sorcerers, especially those that tend to be difficult, but generally sorcerers in general are often branded with basically like kind of facial marks to make them easier for them to identify, so they can't just escape the Duke.
Right.
How do you communicate with the spy master?
It's always through the networker. He comes to us.
How do you plan to report your doings here?
We'd leave a dead drop in set locations.
He brings out the map again and says, "Point."
My most recent dead drop was to go, and he kind of points out a location for you. It appears to be like a small alleyway near one of the parks.
All right.
Do you have any specific call sign or phrase that you need to include in your communication?
The phrase was gilded claws.
And that phrase would signal what exactly?
That was the identifier we would use when to basically say it was all clear.
I'm gonna squint a little bit at him and says, basically, is that the phrase you use to signal that it is all clear, or is it not?
It is.
All right. So what we're gonna do is basically can't let this guy go, obviously. But now that we have a dead drop location, we can round up the others, and then we put in the dead drop that everything is good to go. But there's a lot of heat, so they're gonna go like underground for a little while until it blows over.
Have your companions sent any dead drops of their own? Or are they able to?
I don't know if they sent this.
Describe your companions to us.
You can extract the information describing the others.
All right.
It appears he is the only spellcaster sent along. The other two were apparently one of kind of sound like roguey rangery types.
All right.
He gives you a description.
Are they currently disguised?
Probably.
How do we identify them?
He doesn't have much advice to give on that regard.
Yeah.
Outside of where he was supposed to meet them, which was.
Are they also sorcerers?
No.
Oh, he just said they're like ranger.
He was the only spellcaster sent along.
Alright.
Trying to think of something else.
His job was to identify potential magical obstacles or such.
Oh yeah.
Have you had any communication or interaction with the Duke himself?
No.
Are there other groups besides yourselves that have been sent on missions here?
He doesn't know.
All right. I think Vickers is done here. If there's any other questions?
It sounds like the enemy spy master is doing a good job of keeping his cells separated.
Yes, that's good.
Any other code word we should know?
He can provide a list of like other code words that they would commonly use. At least his team would.
Alright. Well, with that done, I don't have any other questions for him.
With that mark, does that mean that he can be like his location can be ascertained at all times?
Probably not.
Okay.
It doesn't appear that strong of a mark on him.
All right. Can it be removed?
Theoretically,
Right.
it's essentially more if nothing else. So like like he can't just sneak out. All the guards are going to see him just on site. Like, oh yeah, we know. Yeah, no, you're one of his.
All right. Yeah, Vickers doesn't have anything else. You can deal with them as you see fit.
Anyone
All
else
right.
wants any question before I kill him?
Oren rotates. Doesn't say anything though.
No? Then in that case, Amanas will kill him. Take the head in one clean sweep of his greatsword.
He's restrained. He tries very briefly to like resist, but he can barely do much in that regard.
Chop, chop.
Off comes the head, as you can now hold one red-headed dead sorcerer.
Amanas looks at it and like throws it to a corner somewhere. And looks to Torn and says, and to Vickers and says, find the rest. And then he'll stomp off.
Yeah, I mean, we know where the two are. We know what they look like. It's just grab them.
Oren frowns, but not.
Cielo will go, towards the corpse and gather some food for herself on a vial.
Cold blood is better than no blood.
I mean, it's something.
So,
Vika's question: do you want me to aid you the illusion of this guy that he makes the dead drop, or do you just want to go capture the two guys?
Good point. I mean, I think Thorn can grab those two guys just fine. If he wants.
I think Vickers should go. This seems like a counter-espionage thing.
No, I was thinking that Vickers can like craft the drop to lure the other guy in. I mean,
Sure.
I can do both the same, like after one after the other. It doesn't really matter.
you want to craft an okay dead drop to let the to try and trick them to doing their plan. Anyway,
Yes. And now that we know that what the exfiltration, like what the route they confirmed was, we can basically lay a trap for them. So he's gonna do that. Was there like there wasn't a code word that they gave us that like was like, hey, we need to meet, or
no.
Okay, yeah, then if we can't ascertain where he is or they are, or how to get at them, then this is the best thing we got to do, I think.
Torn, with your guards and Lady Eliza's guards on top of that, you're able to very easily corner and capture the two individuals.
Wonderful.
If you didn't have the intel you had, it would be difficult, but you kind of extracted everything you could before beheading a guy.
Yeah.
Any particular way
Guess-
Torin wants to handle them, or just simply put them in a chair, interrogate?
They will certainly be, brought into the prison, into one of the clean cells, ideally.
You chuck them both into cells.
Where they will be interrogated as well. I wouldn't know what specific questions to ask.
That's fine.
I think just catching them is fine.
You caught them, and you will try to extract some information. Obviously, you don't have a zone of truth on your side, so they might be trying to deceive you.
Sure, they can try.
Yeah.
I presume you would like to try and counter that deception.
Absolutely.
Please, go ahead.
Oh,
Do you think you would advantage from knowing the other knowledge? So if they're lying, he can test it based on the information we've already been given, or
Like cross-referencing, pretty much.
cross-reference. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm happy for that if you want to take advantage for that reason.
yeah. Also, I rolled intimidation instead of insight. Oops. Wait, what? I clicked buttons and now I no longer have proficiency in insight. Help. Okay.
Don't
there
you
we
have
go.
expertise in insight even?
I do, yeah.
I
Like, good to
see.
have the two
Let
takes
me-
their expertise.
There you go.
yeah,
23.
That's pretty good.
With a 23, Torin is able to extract some more information. They're not the most cooperative. These appear to be much more like your standard lowlifes. Your standard criminals pulled into a spy network. But what Torin is able to ascertain is the following. They indeed have been told to try and gain information on the map and layout. One of them was told to locate the ceremonial chalice used for the ceremony, and was apparently told to smear something inside of it.
Poison.
Is that something poison?
You believe yes.
Oh.
Do they have the substance with them that they were supposed to smear?
Well, as it turns out, searching through their belongings, one of them does have a package with a very fine, suspicious powder.
All right. Well,
Persephone, let's identify this.
What's in there may rhyme with smoison. So yes.
Okay.
you know what we'll do? When you infiltrate Alcen's palace, you smear his goblet with that.
I see.
Yes.
Other than that, it also appears that they were told to leave a dead drop of weapons in the forest nearby.
Weapons. How many weapons?
Not many.
What kind of weapons?
A high-powered crossbow. With some rather unusual-looking crossbow bolts.
Okay.
Unusual how?
They describe the crossbow bolts as having these weird glass tips with some kind of liquid inside.
They're poison.
More poison crap.
But they do not know what's inside of them. They did not try breaking the...
Here's a question. Can we replicate those glass arrows but fill them with just harmless colored water?
So that we preserve the dead drop, but
Mhm.
let them think that they have them. Yeah, we could.
Yeah, but it's harmless.
That's an idea, yeah.
I mean, our whole purpose is to let them go ahead with the plan, but we already know and prepared. So I think that's a good
Yes.
idea, if it's possible.
think our alchemist might be able to do that.
I think as inventor, Raiden might actually have pulled it off for
Oh,
you.
yeah, Raiden. Oh, yeah, artificer. I forgot about Raiden. Sorry.
Might need to get his revenge of having his place almost ransacked. So
True.
As it turns out, like if you show them to him, it's like, huh, interesting. Yeah, I can do that.
Excellent. Because then we preserve the dead drop, let them go ahead with the plan, and we can put on a proper amber.
and we can take their stuff ourselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
What
Creepy arrows.
what Raiden can do is he can subtly kind of crack the tip open without damaging the glass, extract the liquid, and put just normal liquid back inside.
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds great.
We'll do that.
Some nice food coloring dyed water.
Very good.
So what kind of poison was it?
That's a different question.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an expert on poison, so that may be a
Right.
thing. That may be a thing to take to the alchemist.
Well, something. Does anyone use a bow? I don't think so. Maybe like Amanas can coat his sword with poison or something.
I mean, we have army units.
I don't think it's enough for an army unit.
It's not.
Like,
No, but I guess so.
What Persephone will be able to identify for you if you bring her the smoisons.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So firstly, the powder that was given. The powder that's given was interesting. It's not a conventional poison. It's a poison that induces a very high level of social susceptibility in whoever drinks it,
Okay.
making them very gullible and amenable to just doing whatever they're told.
Okay.
That was apparently being put in the chalice.
Interesting. There's like a charm poison.
Something like that, yes.
Okay.
The other poison in the glass bolts
Yep.
appears to be a rather potent paralytic.
Okay.
Raiden was not able to extract all 5 doses for you, but you can keep 2 doses for the party's own use.
Okay.
What's the DC on them?
I'll have to go look that up for you, but it's not a bad one. Let me add that to my to-do list.
Yeah. Well, the spies will be executed and their heads cut off, and we will collect those heads, put them in a bag or something in the basement. Because when all of this is done, I'm gonna collect every single head of these goddamn spies and send them back as a present.
Very well.
There's Sokai law text states that spies get executed.
That seems to be the president being said.
He does as he wishes. I was just gonna keep them here for a bit, but
No, they're not going free. Oh no. No. You're made an example of and sent back to our adversary as a statement of stay the fuck out of our business.
well, no, because we want them to know that they're not dead, so we shouldn't do that.
I mean, as I said, when we have all the head,
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah, okay.
which we don't yet because we haven't staged the ambush.
Yes, it looks like there was going to be sabotage for the coronation.
Yes, we are about to foil it.
We should probably double check the chalice. I mean, it doesn't look like they got in, and
It
Vickers
does
is
not.
alive, but
No one has removed the chalice from the safe yet.
Super
Alright.
scrub that chalice.
just in case. Well, that's
Sure.
good at least.
It can be put through. It can be disinfected first.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, traditionally as part of the ceremony, but both the liege and the both the liege and the purse and the vassal should be drinking from the chalice.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Spies are dead. We are staging an ambush on the saboteurs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which will happen during the coronation itself, it looks like.
Yes.
Yep.
Gonna be hectic.
But you now know this is going to happen and can try to ambush the plot as it unfolds.
Probably be something for you because I need to be
You'll be in
on.
the
Yeah, I need to be in the church, so to speak.
Actually,
Yeah, it's fine.
ambush the ambush. I like it.
I mean,
got this.
Ceres meanwhile is probably going to be busy doing diplomat stuff.
Yeah, Ceres will be busy.
However, it does mean that the back line of Torin, Vicus, and CL will get to run security protocol.
Yeah, great. It's our job, protect the king.
And all your guests.
Ah, well, most of them.
You can also have the support of Lord Shell if you so desire, but
Yes, it's very menacing, Lord Shell.
otherwise, though, he'll be of course sitting in the nobles area at his demand.
Oh, of course.
God. Lord Shell. Yes, well.
Hey,
Look, he's
stop
even on your
hating on him, alright?
He's even on your unique assets list here on the homepage.
Yeah, come on, man. He's great. You leave him alone.
What assets does he actually bring?
Himself, alright?
Uh-huh.
He's wonderful.
He is an asset.
Mm,
You will learn one day.
somehow I think that's
then-
only him saying that and no one else.
One day it'll come fruition and you will
He's
look the
a-
fool, sir.
He is a goddamn freeloader.
With an ego.
Well, awesome.
Okay.
I'm sure that's what the Count thought of you, Hamanas, before you took your oath.
Lord Shell gonna take an oath of conquest and then charge at me with his 5 feet per turn.
Oh, no, he's probably going to wait until he's large size, right? And then he'll come at you.
I see. Well, he's welcome to try. If you take a shot at the king, you better not miss.
He'll protect the king. He'll learn, Misty Step.
Yeah.
And the final blow will come from Hamanas, and then poof, Lord Shell will be there.
I see. He has that constantly as a ready action.
Yeah. Ready to action, save the king.
Yeah.
He step
All
in,
right, makes sense.
blocks. He's got some fighter levels.
Yeah.
Gonna be a fun coronation.
Maybe we should actually train him as a cleric. He could be the royal physician.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, you laugh. His stats actually would not be bad for that necessarily.
Yeah, turtles are wise, right? Tortoises.
Isn't there that Pope tortoise from Elden Ring? That is a base.
I see.
Lord Shell, Pope of Sorkai.
Oh yeah. Pope Shell.
Pope Shell. Get him a big fancy hat.
What domain he would even be?
Death.
Glory.
Glory.
It was glorious of tortoises.
Nature.
It certainly would be the most logical, yes, but
Or
yeah,
Tempest Cleric Turtle.
Tempest, he's the angry war is an angry turtle. Battle cleric.
Ah.
Yes. It could be a warlock of the fathoms.
What look at the fathoms? Yeah.
Indeed.
Dread
Dark
Shell.
powers. Yeah, the dark powers that Lord Shell communes with for his powers. Well, Yeah, I think we have marching orders, and I think of a plan.
Yep.
Heads will roll, and then
Although a question that I posed during the session never was answered.
Oh,
What?
At least not while I was around. The top layer of Sorkai. Did we breach it? We finished clearing it.
the top layer has been breached. Yes.
I presume interesting thing to run amok.
There is, but I will not cover them today.
Ah.
it's so interesting, Halldamir.
Oh.
I will, however, provide all of you guys a small list of the things that you find between sessions.
Great.
Alright.
Which is in 2 weeks, right?
Yes, our next one will be due for 2 weeks' time, so I will not be here next week.
Julio.
Understood.
All right. Well, if we are wrapping up, I'm gonna head off early because I need to get ready for work. So I will see you
Yes, for your
guys
schedules.
Hooray, night shift.
later.
See ya.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
I think there will be one thing still, although we don't need to play this out. Torrin would just like to meet